now we are live. What's going on, guys? It's Logan. It's EJ. Welcome back to SwampCast, man. You can cry with us over here. It's fine. You're safe to let the tears flow. Being a Gator fan is it's rough. It's been rough my entire life. Not EJ. EJ's seen a lot of great things. Not me. EJ, how you doing, man? How you feeling on this beautiful Sunday? We're getting into the holidays. You were talking about that earlier, man. You had a wild week this past week. How you doing?
Yeah, man. You know, now that I'm thinking about it though, it's been 20 years since we've done anything relevant in the sport. Um, but it's crazy because we're still Gators and we love our team and we're ready to support. Um, but this week was crazy. Went to Vegas Sunday night for the basketball game on Monday, which we'll talk a little bit about in a separate segment. Then flew over to see Deshaun, my nephew, in the USF versus UTSA game. They absolutely destroyed them. Then the cameraman put me on the big screen. He was waiting until I took a bite of this sandwich, put me on the big screen at Raymond James. And Raymond James, I don't like that stadium. Okay, they take your water bottle tops and you can't bring a bag in. That is absolutely terrible. But other than that, it was great until Saturday's debacle against Kentucky. And by the way, we have not beaten Kentucky. I think we've lost three straight games in Lexington to them. And the funny thing is, I don't think
Golly.
they've won a game in Lexington since the last time they beat us. They haven't won an SEC game in Lexington since they beat us the last time we played them there. And we haven't beaten them since the Felipe Franks broken foot that Kyle Trask came in and led us to victory.
Wow.
That's the
I
last time
remember
we
that.
beat them. So just we're cursed against Kentucky. I hope we're just cursed and it's not like the team has given up. I guess we'll see.
You're so right, dude, because we had the 2 years in a row, right? With was it Luke Del Rio that I think it was Luke Del Rio that was under center, and he got the snap, and we had a wide open Freddie Swain on the right. I think it was that one, and then the following year was when Felipe went down. It was unreal, dude. Like there's or not that was 2 years later. And then Felipe went down. Like our luck in Lexington at Kroger Field has always been really really good, and these past couple years it's been rough, man. We destroyed them last year with the Jaden Ball 5 rushing touchdown performance, and this year it was sad. It went off the rails so fast, DJ, and
So fast.
I personally have not seen something like this in a while. I can't remember the last time that we got blown out like this. Like it just felt like there was no like at least with the USF loss, it was a game, it was a close game, you know what I mean, whatever. Um, this one it looked like we were playing like a national championship caliber team, and we played a team that had 2 wins at that point, right? I think they had two or three. Um, and so we weren't playing no national caliber team. They got toyed around the entire season, and we just got dominated on every single level. Looks like the guys are starting to quit a little bit, which is never a good sign.
Yeah.
Guys are opting out. Talking about Tank Hawkins and an already injured wide receiver core, so it's just not looking great for Gator Nation these next 3 games. We have to win out now to make a bowl game. So that's something. So we'll see what happens there, EJ. Let's get into this Kentucky talk though. Obviously, we can just kind of dive into it all, man. I think I predicted. Let me see. I believe I predicted a 23-10 UF victory. I thought the Gators are going to be able to perform a little bit better on offense and score more than a touchdown. And I thought that we would be able to hold this Kentucky offense to a lot less than 38 points. We lose 38-7 in Lexington. We are now 3-6. Kentucky's 4-5. Man, EJ, I'm just gonna let you kind of give your thoughts right away on this before we dive into all the specifics, man. You've been watching Gator football a lot longer than me. How did you feel about this loss? What was it reminiscent of? If you can kind of nail it to anything else, how did you feel watching this one
Oh man. Um, I texted you, I think the
before,
day of
day before?
or the day morning before. And I was just like, I don't have a good feeling about this game. And I don't know if it was just a feeling of the team morale was just really down after losing to Georgia. Um, the way that they put a lot of energy into it. Then having to, again, this strength of schedule talk, have to rally the troops, go on the road. It's 50 degrees, um, and play a Kentucky team that's had our number. And Kentucky's had our number primarily for one reason. Um, they are a very difficult matchup for us. Our team is not a very good passing team, typically, the last 5 or 6 years. And Kentucky's defense is centered around stopping the run with the front four. You can just look at the PFF ratings of their defensive tackles and ends and tell they stop the run with their front four, and they play this umbrella defense coverage wise that keeps everything in front of them, forces you to be accurate, forces you to make the right decision and throw the ball on time. And if you have no ability to extend the defense deep, they have no incentive to change. And I was just thinking to myself, man, I just have a bad feeling about this. The morale is low. Um, and the other thing is, the defense has played really well all season. They've kept us in every game. There's always a game where the defense just takes the day off, and it's up to the offense to just try to outscore the other team. And if the defense takes the day off and the offense plays their typical can't score, can't complete a pass to our team, the running back is the leading receiver in the game, which Jaden Ball, I think, had 5 catches. That he's the leading receiver. Um, you're going to have a game where you get destroyed. And unfortunately for Florida, just no aggressiveness defensively, um, no game plan, no strategy, no effort. Um, just a mailed in game. And you feel bad for the Gators that were out there playing that actually wanted to be out there, but just a horrible, horrible, horrible game. For context, everybody, I was looking this up. This is like the worst loss that we've had to Kentucky since 1950. We got beat by them at 40-6 in Lexington, so that was 75 years ago. Okay, how old were you all in 1950? Okay, weren't even born. Your parents probably weren't even born. Most lopsided loss to an unranked opponent since we lost 46-15 in 1970 to Alabama. It's our third straight road loss to Kentucky. We were just talking about this. We hadn't beaten Kentucky in Lexington since 2019. The Kyle Trask game where he comes in after the Felipe Franks broken ankle. So that's 2021, 2023, 2025, lost all those games. And we're now 3-5 against Kentucky in the last 8 games after beating them 31 straight times. I was not alive. The Kentucky beat us in 2018, I want to say. 2018.
Yep, Dan Mullen's first year.
They beat us 2018, Dan Mullen's first year. I wasn't even freaking alive the last time we lost to Kentucky before that. Okay. So yeah, so we're what, 0-5 on the road this season. Kentucky had lost 10 straight home games in the SEC prior to this game. So their fans are like, they're just as shocked as we are. That's the funny thing about it. Like the Kentucky fans, if you go look at we don't know, we've turned the corner. We beat Auburn in Florida. We turned the corner. We're probably at this point the worst team in the SEC. I don't think, um, usually you could just default to Vanderbilt, and then it's kind of like, well, Vanderbilt's actually one of the best teams in the SEC. So it's like we're living in the Stranger Things upside down, my friend.
You are not lying. Kenny's in the chat, baby. What's going on, Kenny? What's up, fellas? Can't wait to move on from this trash of a football team. I think we all feel that way, man. I posted on my Instagram story yesterday. I was just like, let's just skip to 2026. Let's, the excitement of having a brand new football coach, all that's going to be amazing. A brand new team, and hopefully a brand new quarterback. So yeah, I agree with you, man. It's unbelievable. I mean, yeah, was it 31, 32 years in a row? We had Kentucky, and now it's just, since that damn on first year. Now, 2018 Kentucky was a good Kentucky team. I think they had 10 wins that year. They were a dirty little team in 2018.
That was a good team. That was a really good team, yeah.
But since then, there's been really no excuses, and this team is not a good team. You have a freshman starting at quarterback, and Boley out there looked like a vet. I mean, Cutter Boley looked comfortable in the pocket, 18 of 23, 168 yards, 7 yards a pass, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Going into this game, EJ, we were talking about it. Cutter Boley, I want to say Connor for some reason. Cutter Boley is not a guy who likes to take shots deep. He's just not comfortable doing that. He likes to get the ball to his playmakers on the outside quickly and kind of get those guys in space. They did do that a lot. Kendrick Law was torching us with those quick screens and those quick passes on multiple plays. We were not tackling well on defense at all. We were playing these soft-ass coverages, which gave them these quick little speed outs. His quick out routes just seemed very easy. Now, Connor Boley did a really good job, and here's what I will say about this guy. I think he's going to be a good quarterback in the future. I really, really do. He's going to be a good quarterback at Kentucky or wherever he goes. He's a freshman, and he's gotten better every single game and has gotten more comfortable every single game. I think this kid is a really good quarterback. But I mean, he made some really good. He was, we were playing this zone defense, CJ, and he just looked like a vet, man. He was torching us. He was looking off Devin Moore. He was looking off the safeties, finding those holes in the defense. And the reason he was able to do that is because they had a number on these linebackers for Florida, because they were able to run the ball very efficiently and very consistently. Something that Kentucky loves to do, right? The time of possession, the limited possessions. They kept the ball, away from our offense, and when our offense did get the ball, they would create a turn or, throw an interception or fumble the ball with, I think that was KD, right? KD Daniels. Kenny also said, we're at the bottom of the SEC, and I blame Strickland for not caring about football and hiring this coach. But yeah, no, I totally get your frustration. So, Kentucky just had everything going the way that they wanted to go. I went back and watched the whole game this morning again, EJ, and they just, everything went their way. The turnovers, the coverages, the bad decisions, the mistakes made by this Gator offense and Gator defense. Like it was like every single time we made a mistake, Kentucky took advantage of that mistake, which is their philosophy as a team, right? You just have to catch them making their mistakes, and that's something that we just did not do. We also gave Connor Boley a lot of time in the pocket. He just looked very comfortable back there, and that was a big issue in this game. So overall, I mean, there's obviously one big thing that we're going to get to talking about in a minute, but overall, just, I guess, defensively against this Kentucky offense, we just let them do whatever they wanted to. They had huge, explosive plays on the ground, whether that was, Cutter Boley scrambling a little bit or that Dante Dowdle big explosive run there, which really put the nail in the coffin. I believe that made it 38 points. I think it was just 31 at that time. So, I mean, just big explosive plays hurt this Gator team. And coming into this game, defensively, I said, hold them to 2 or less explosive plays on defense, and they had more than that. Let's just say that. So my key on defense did not hit, and I think that is, you can see that on that final score. So that's just kind of my view on this Gator defense against this Kentucky offense. It was a bad matchup. little bit of a sneak peek to later on. The matchup against the Ole Miss offense looks very, very favorable for this Florida Gator defense. I will say that. Against this Kentucky offense, though, it's not great because when you're playing a two-safety look, two-man, two deep safety, you're probably only going to have a 6-7 man box, and so you're going to most likely run the ball and bring in a tight end, you know what I mean, to a more bunch formation every single time and take advantage of that defense. That's exactly what Kentucky did. And if you're playing a too high, guess what? You're probably going to have a favorable, passes on the outside, which is what Kentucky did, and make the Gators tackle in space, which is what the Gators did not do. So it's a favorable look for a team that is going to run the ball down your throat, stick with the run game, do quick passes, not take in, and they caught us in the wrong moments when they did go deep. So overall, just was not a great matchup from the get-go, and me and EJ talked about that this past week. But God, I did not think that Connor Boley was gonna, take advantage of the Gator defense when, those inconsistencies did show in the safety play. So is there, I seen Kermani not wanting to make tackles last night. Kermani had a bad game, a bunch of blown coverages, bunch of missed tackles, but that really comes from the entire defense, man. The entire defense could not tackle. EJ, sorry about the rant. Anything you want to say about this Gator defense against this Kentucky offense before we dive into,
Yeah, you're good. I mean, what's one thing that I always say when it's coming to picking a team or picking a game? Which team has the better quarterback? Which team has the better defense? And in this game, guess who had both? Kentucky. And guess what the outcome is in a game where you have the significantly better quarterback and significantly better defense. It's you get destroyed, right? That's pretty much. So DJ Lagway, let's just start there. Just not a good quarterback right now. I mean, I don't know what else you can say. Probably has no confidence, no relationship with his wide receivers, has no idea where are they running short, are they running long, are they running a post, are they running an out. He has no clue what they're doing. They don't have a clue what they're doing, and doesn't know what coverage the defense is in when he's throwing the ball. When he throws the ball, he has one eye on one receiver, and that's one thing if you throw the ball on time where the defense doesn't have the opportunity to get the ball. But he throws the ball 1 to 2 seconds late, and not only late, but off target. We saw one of the interceptions. He chose the right receiver. He was open, threw it late and behind. I think it was Baugh. Was it Baugh? The run? Yeah. Or was it Mizell? Don't remember. Wait a minute. I think it was
you're talking about.
Oh yeah, it was a it was a I think it was a pass to Baugh, and it got deflected, and then they intercepted it. And I'm kind of like, okay, that was, I mean, people, well, he should have caught the ball. No, it was a terrible pass. And the other interception was the guy was streaking open, but he completely overthrew it. Not only overthrew it, but threw it directly in the path of the safety who's over the top, not knowing that Kentucky's playing umbrella defense. So it just terrible all the way around. At least Billy Gonzalez had the guts to say, you know what, dude, you're good for the night. Let's put in Tramel Jones and see if he can do anything. And not that Tramel Jones was going to lead a comeback, which there were some Kentucky fans saying, oh, hell, they put the backup in. They're going to come back because they've been traumatized from Florida putting in backup quarterbacks and coming back to win. But not in this game. So you had to do something different. So, and then the Florida defense, just really quick, it just looked like they just completely just did not want to be there. I don't know. I can't explain it. It's like, how do you go toe to toe with LSU. You completely stop LSU. You completely stop Texas A&M for 3 quarters. You completely stop Miami for 3 quarters. You completely play toe to toe with Georgia for the entire game, holding them to one of their lowest points that they've scored all season. And then you go to Kentucky, and then it's like, well, whatever. Maybe it was just like, but you can't really blame them because you look, if you're on playing defense, you look across when the other team, when we have the ball, you're like, man, we're not going to score. So maybe if we allow them to score, maybe that puts some pressure on the offense to actually have to go out there and be good. Maybe that's what they were thinking. Because it's like, maybe the offense takes the drive off because they're like, well, the defense is going to stop them. I'm like, Cutter Boley's out there carving us up like freaking Eli Manning. Okay. And we were soft ass coverages, no pressure on the Kentucky receivers. We're acting like these Kentucky receivers are barn burners. They're not. They were throwing underneath screens. And the guy I was sitting next to at the Gator Bar here in San Diego, I was like, listen, 3rd and 4 to like 6, here's how this goes. It's about a 90% probability that if it's us on 3rd and 4, we're not going to get it. But if it's the other team, it's 90% that they are. It's going to be like if every play was 3rd down and 4 or 5 for both teams, we'd lose like 50-0 every game because the other team converts. It's like it's the easiest conversion you've ever seen. 3rd and 4, guys wide open, boom. Quarterback always makes the right read, boom, wide open, boom, wide open. And if it's DJ, it's converting a 3rd and 4 for Florida is like asking me to roll a 700-pound concrete ball up one of these freaking California mountains. Like that, it's just never gonna happen. Like maybe I'll get like two inches, and then the ball will just roll me over. But it's like, why is it so freaking hard for a team with a 5-star quarterback, supposedly the best offensive line you've had forever, an all-star running back? Yeah, you got some receivers out, but you got 5 other guys, and you can't develop a route that gets you 4 yards and throw the ball on time and on target. It just doesn't make any sense. And then you're out there fumbling the ball. Katie Daniels, bless his heart. I knew it wasn't Ball because Ball never fumbles. So I looked, I was like, yep, it's number 21. It is. You take the good with the bad. So he's fumbling. DJ Lagway's throwing interceptions every other pass. You don't have a chance. And we talked about that, turnovers and not throwing the ball deep. I don't even think we tried to throw it deep, but it was, umbrella coverage intercepted. So long story short, this is just one of those games that you just learn from and just try to say, hey, let's just play with a little bit more fight next time. But it was terrible.
Horrible. Yeah, I agree with all the defense stuff. I have nothing to really expand on there. They just gave up. But the DJ Lagway, a bad
yes,
quarterback.
Please tell us.
Bad quarterback. I texted EJ. I was like, dude, I literally said this guy is just bad. He's just bad. 12 interceptions, one of the most in college football this year. Yeah, he's not good. Like, and it sucks because he's so talented. He has a natural talent. But I don't know if it's the private quarterback coach he has. I don't know if it is Ryan O'Hara. I don't know what's going on right now. But his fundamentals are some of the worst fundamentals I've ever seen. And I feel like that's why his timing is off, EJ. Because on a drop back, it should be 1-2, right foot, throw the ball. That's how you drop back as a quarterback, right? And I'm not even play quarterback. That's just that's knowledge. That's common knowledge. Here's what DJ does. He goes drop back, step, jump up in the air to throw the ball. It's just like I don't. It's like he's playing hopscotch back there. And that's why he's late on these throws, because he does this little slide hop thing. And so by the time he throws the ball to plant his foot, he's that second late because instead of planning to throw, he does that. A reason he's inaccurate. He never follows through on the throw at all. A big part of that is because he realizes, oh shit, I'm a little bit late on this throw. I got to zip it and just use my arm instead of, stepping into the throw. That's a big issue. So his fundamentals from top to bottom, EJ, are just horrendous. And we see that in his throws and in the timing, and it's all there's a correlation there with everything that's going on and all the problems of this offense. It stems from the fundamentals, which is why they're called fundamentals, and that's why a lot of these coaches zone in on that, because it is a domino effect to all these other issues that we're seeing right now with Gator football, and this offense. So I agree. It's sad. It's hard to watch. Tramel Jones came in like you talked about. I saw Billy Gonzalez because that was my question. I was like, who the hell's decision was it to bench DJ? It was Billy. Billy G did say in the press conference. I don't think it was recorded. I just know I read the Gators.com, whatever it's called. Read like their website and their article on it. And Gonzalez said that he did want to bench Lagway, and that was his decision. And he said going into this Ole Miss game, he says that DJ's not guaranteed to start. He says that they'll analyze the footage and the film and go from there. So there's a chance that DJ might not even start the Ole Miss game. I personally think he should, and we'll get into that in a bit. But yeah, Tramel came in right away. You saw the fundamentals. Way better. The timing on the throws, way better. I think his first pass was that out route that was like across the field. It was like a 40-yard pass, an absolute laser to the wide receiver. DJ's not throwing that on time. That was an on-time pass. Even some of the hitches that Tramel was throwing on time. I stopped watching late fourth quarter just because I couldn't deal with the pain anymore. And there were some other great games on. But I did see a lot of Tramel Jones, and he played well. He threw, that one throw that probably should have been an interception into the double coverage, but he's also trying to, get the ball down the field and force it down the field, which is understandable at that point. So I would love to see a week of Tramel, actually getting the reps and stuff in practice and really getting to understand the game plan, because you could tell that they had to kind of dumb down some of the plays and some of the scheme and everything. They try to fix his mechanics, and Shane Matthews says it's too late for that. Yeah, like I said, I'm really curious on what the private quarterback coach is doing, and that, because I feel like that's, I guess I understand it to a point, but I feel like if you're trying to develop a quarterback, I want to know what the private coach is doing. Like, I'd rather my staff, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? I'd rather my staff, like, kind of take control of that and take the wheel there. Because there's no correlation from what I know. This is a private guy, and obviously his fundamentals have gotten worse. They've always been bad, but now it's gotten even worse. And maybe that's his shoulder. I don't know what's going on.
I hope no one reveals the name of this so-called private quarterback coach, because his stock is going to plummet. Okay, unless he's got clients that are actually doing something, because the work that he's done. Good thing he's not a therapist, okay? Because DJ would be in really bad shape. He has, like I said, I don't believe in regression. I just believe that you are what you are at any point in time, and it's your job to get better than your competition. And if you don't improve from where you are, you're never going to be better than your competition. And then people think it's you regressing, when it's in fact just the people that you're going up against are just better than you. They found a way to, just be better. And DJ has not found a way to be better. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a problem. So, Tramel came out, did his thing. I was pretty proud of what he was able to do. But DJ Lagway overall, I mean, I think he threw 3 picks, right? Was it 3?
It was so the 3 picks. I remember him. He threw the first one into triple coverage, late as hell. There was a Kentucky guy in front, Kentucky guy behind, Kentucky guy to the side, probably a Kentucky guy, just off screen that could have intercepted the pass. And so that was the easiest interception anyone's ever seen. The second one, he threw it high and behind. Baugh deflected, easy interception for Kentucky. And then the third one was, oh, let's throw it deep into triple coverage right to the DB. Well, he's wearing blue. We're blue and orange. Maybe. No, we're in orange, genius. So guess what? Intercepted. So it's like, what the heck is he doing?
Well, and there are such thing as good interceptions. I do believe that. You know what I mean? Like if it's the good read and it was just like sometimes you'll just see really good defensive plays, right? And that's, by the way, that's the usually the characteristic of a great defense is they sometimes just make really really good plays on great quarterbacks and great throws. None of these interceptions were great interceptions. They were just poorly thrown, poorly timed balls. And like I said, I think a lot of that, EJ, really comes down to DJ Lagway's mechanics and his fundamentals. Tank Hawkins, red shirt, what do you guys think about that? He's transferring. I think you're going to see a lot of guys transfer. Wouldn't surprise me if Tank Hawkins go. Wouldn't surprise me if Dallas Wilson goes. I think DJ leaves. I mean, if Lane Kiffin comes in, I think some of those guys might stay. But, yeah, Tank Hawkins is gone. He's a good, really fast guy, probably the fastest on the team. But I don't really, honestly, Kenny, I don't really care. Like, if you don't, like, I understand his decision. I understand that the season's not going the right way, but he obviously doesn't fully bleed orange and blue. He obviously fully isn't, a Gator till he dies, and so I think that's probably why I'm okay with him doing that, and he's because he's going to transfer for sure. DJ transfers to Baylor is what Kenny says. He thinks that's going to happen. I know he was recruited pretty heavily by Baylor. I know that's obviously over there in Texas.
Well, here's the thing. To the DJ thing first from Kenny, it's like at this point, if he was an elite quarterback, obviously we'd care. But right now, it's just why would you want to come back to Florida at this point, right? Like, we don't like you as fan. The fans think you're not that great. You're probably needing a fresh start yourself. And at this point, DJ's done nothing to improve his stock. Like, if you're a top level team right now, would you want DJ Lagway to be your quarterback? I mean, I don't know. Maybe you would, but he's done nothing to improve his stock. And then to the Tank Hawkins situation, here's my thing. Some people say it's a quitter's mentality. If you quit a real job, you stop getting paid, right? Like, they don't just keep paying you. So my thing is, if he decides he's going to just redshirt, is it a mutual agreement from the university to, like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, you don't have to play, you don't have to practice, you can, you know, we're still going to pay your scholarship, we're still going to pay you your uh, NIL. Like, is that the deal? Because if that's the case, why doesn't the entire team just say, okay, yeah, we're just gonna all redshirt for the rest of the year, and get paid our scholarship and get paid our NIL and not have to go to the games. Oh, and then when we transfer, we'll have a full year of eligibility. Like, who the hell does that? Like, how is that even allowed? If you're gonna decide you're gonna redshirt because of whatever, we lost the coach or whatever that, guess what? You're off the team, no scholarship, go get a job. Okay? Because there's plenty of people that I'm pretty sure would want to just come in and play and make a name for themselves. And by the way, at wide receiver, half the wide receiver core is injured. So you don't want to get out there and prove yourself. Even to teams that you are transferring to. It's kind of like, why would I want a guy that quit on your team when things got really bad, and you didn't even want to go out there and try. Now maybe, if you're Tank Hawkins, you're thinking about your future because it's, all about me, 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 me. I can have a full year of eligibility. I'm probably not going to go to the NFL. I want to make money in NIL, and if I can make a whole another season, I'm going to do that. So he's probably thinking about that. But okay, that's fine. Get off the give us our scholarship back.
Right.
Like, you can take out a loan, and then when you get your NIL, you can pay it off. Okay, that's it. But that may be just a symptom of just the whole team just saying, yeah, the season's over, our coach is gone, let's just mail it in. And maybe Billy G isn't as motivational as Billy Napier, because as terrible as Billy Napier was, the game probably would have been a lot closer. Maybe he would have gave him a little bit of a pep talk and just been like, hey, guys, you guys love me as a coach. Remember, go out there and fight, even though we're going to lose. So if Billy Napier was a coach, maybe we lose like 24-17 or something like that. But we were still losing that game regardless. I mean, it's the Kentucky curse. So we're cursed. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. No. You're right. You're right. DJ's dad played at Baylor. Okay, I do remember that. Yeah, and that's a fun offense to be a part of. I mean, Sawyer Robertson's out there balling 26 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, like playing very well. They've had a few tough losses, but I thought they were going to be a lot better this year. They started off pretty strong, but yeah, no, I'm a big Sawyer Robertson guy. I like that offense. I think DJ would have fun over there. It's definitely more of a passing offense. And something too, like we haven't seen DJ in a full spread offense, like full off season and what he's comfortable in, like an air raid. So, and I will say this too, he's dangerous on the ground. I mean, it's crazy that Billy Napier did not want to run this man because he obviously wasn't hurt. I'm sorry, there's no way. I mean, if he was, like, it just does. He doesn't. I don't feel like he wouldn't get that much better that fast. So,
yeah, you gotta like Brent Key this offense. Like Brent Key had Haynes King, who was a Texas A&M reject. Remember? He was terrible. And Texas A&M fans were like, he sucks, get rid of him. So he says, okay, fine, I suck. I'm going to Georgia Tech. Goes to Georgia Tech, and what does Brent Key do? Play to his strengths. You're a big, fast, well, not really fast, but you're kind of like Tim Tebow style runner. And let's just, hell, power run, baby. And then what does that do? That opens up your passing game because people are like, oh, he can run. Let's, oh, shit, he can throw too. And, tailor the offense. I don't know if we've even thought that maybe we should do that for Lagway instead of this Billy Napier middle school Pop Warner. Okay, tight end Hayden Hansen. Listen, I love Hayden Hansen's probably a great guy.
Very nice guy.
Probably a really nice guy. No playmaking ability in his body. I mean, they threw him the ball, and it's like the ball. It felt like. Have you ever seen like those Instagram reels where like they're trying to scare people and they walk into a room and then like a fake spider jumps onto them and they're like, ah! That's literally what he looked like trying to catch the ball on a pass.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I know exactly what play you're talking about. Yeah.
And I was just like, you're freaking 6'3", a grown ass man. Catch the ball and run somebody over.
My favorite was when they put him on a fly route, on the go route. I thought that was hilarious. I was like, I don't understand. He's not fast. He's like, it's wild. But no, Hayden is a very nice guy.
Yeah.
But just it's not the type of offense he needs to be a part of. He's great, fun blocking tight end. Not really in the pass game. All right. There's nothing really else to talk about here, DJ.
No.
I mean, just bad offense, bad defense, bad. Just overall, one of the worst performances I've seen in a long time.
Well, congratulations to Kentucky. Their fans actually were borderline, we want to get rid of Mark Stoops. But now Mark Stoops has won 2 games in a row against 2 teams that have fired their coaches. And now everybody, Mark Stoops, yeah, he's doing great. So maybe Kentucky will keep Mark Stoops, and we'll have a new coach next year. So we'll see what happens.
We will see what happens. All right. Well, let's talk about this next week here, EJ. You down to hop into the Ole Miss game?
Oh, dun dun dun.
Let's do it, baby. I don't know. Hold up. Before we do, let me look up. I don't know. Did you know the spread on this Ole Miss game? I think it's 13.5.
Yeah, I think it's 13.5. And I've got the.
Before I dive into it, I just want to make sure.
I've got the
sweet.
lineups.
Oh, hell yeah. Cool. We will. Oh, yeah, it is 13.5. All right. Boom. Beautiful. I will open that bad boy so I can put it on the screen for everyone. All right. Let me get that actually. Okay, cool. Start up. So, Florida Gators are going to go on the road. I think Ole Miss is ranked number 6 right now in the country. So, we're going to go to Oxford, Mississippi this weekend, man. Ole Miss coming off of a big-time win. It's the, Citadel or whatever, or Citadel. But they did beat them 49-0. Puts them 9-1 on this season, with that one loss coming to Georgia, which was a pretty wild game. But they did have to go to Athens, which that was just an absolute classic there alone. But have a few really nice wins. Big one over a really good Tulane team. I mean, you look back on Tulane now. Tulane's a really good team. The fact that they got that big of a win over them was nice. Obviously, went to Kentucky, got a win second week in Lexington. Big win over, LSU, which was nice. Oklahoma, overall, not the toughest schedule in the world, but I've definitely got it done for the most part. Now, this Ole Miss team is obviously led by Lane Kiffin, a guy that we're trying to take away. So Ole Miss fans have been chatting a lot, EJ. I don't know if you've seen it, man. They have been talking a lot of shit on the Gators. Lane Kiffin's been out here, trolling us on Twitter, reposting all kinds of stuff. The week hasn't even started yet. And the Ole Miss fans have been all over the Gators social media after that loss to Kentucky, and has been pretty brutal. Texas A&M's definitely probably the worst so far. And then I would say Ole Miss is definitely there at the number 2 spot. We got a win against Ole Miss last year. I believe it was 24-17 in the Swamp. Pretty much destroyed their playoff hopes with 3 sacks on Jackson Dart there late. It was pretty unbelievable. Kenny said, no sense to preview this game. We suck on the road. But yeah. Big win coming off of last year. Lane Kiffin probably wants that revenge. That's something that Kenny just said. EJ, how do you feel about this game? Ole Miss has one loss. If they take another loss, I still think they make the playoff, but it definitely hurts them a little bit with the Gators coming in here and getting a win. Because they finished the year at Mississippi State, so that should be a win, but that could be a pretty fun one there with the Egg Bowl. But give me a night game, 7 p.m. in Oxford, EJ. Just give me your thoughts here on this game.
No idea why this is a 7 p.m. game. This, I'm on the West Coast. Just make this a 9 a.m. game, 12 noon Eastern. Get the misery out of there. But, they're probably doing it because it's the whole Lane Kiffin Bowl. At the end of the day, when you look at this matchup on PFF, our defense should be able to hold Ole Miss to their averages. And that's only if you're presuming that the Kentucky game was an anomaly. But if you're presuming that the Kentucky game is how things are going to go for the rest of the season, this is like a 45-10 Ole Miss victory, right? But if the Florida team that played against Georgia in Jacksonville shows up to Oxford, which could happen, who knows, Ole Miss will have a fight. They'll have a fight on their hands. Ole Miss, they're 3rd in the SEC and 9th in the nation in total offense. I think they're averaging over 485 yards a game. They're scoring 37 points a game. They're throwing for over 300 yards a game. They're running for almost 180 yards a game, which is also a Lane Kiffin special. People think that they just throw the ball a lot. They actually run the ball a lot with Lane Kiffin. They're very efficient. They're very efficient in the red zone. They are a team that I like to say adapts. So they play a schedule where they're playing a lot of teams with a lot of different styles. Lane Kiffin's able to try to assert his will in the game, and if that's not working, he changes things up to adapt to how the other team is playing, so that they can eventually have a chance to win it at the end. And they've done that in a few games this season that have been close. They started out the year with Austin Simmons, 6'4", 215 pound, very good quarterback. Came off the bench when Jackson Dart got hurt last year and led
Old
them
Gator
to Old Gator, by
commit.
the way.
Yeah.
Yep. Um, he had started out the year injured, and so Lane Kiffin, being the quarterback soothsayer, whisperer that he is, brought in this guy named Trinidad Chambliss from Grand Rapids, Michigan. They have a lot of great breweries in Grand Rapids, Michigan, if anyone's been up there. And this guy has come in and been absolutely tearing it up. 13 touchdowns, 5 picks, 9 yards an attempt, which is borderline elite. Because once you get to 10 yards per attempt, you're like in the top quartile of quarterbacks. He had a pretty good game against South Carolina, leading Ole Miss to a 30-14 win, despite having not a great performance in that game. He's a 60% completion percentage guy, but most importantly, he throws the ball on time and on target. And to a defense that is just going to play drop back, let's see if the quarterback makes the right decision type defense that we play. Uh, Chambliss is going to make the right decision, and they're going to roll right down the field. They also have Kewan Lacey, who just runs people over. So we're gonna have to get used to that. Um, I think they also have a guy named Logan on their team.
Yeah, that is
Uh,
Logan Diggs.
yeah, so Logan runs people over. He's a senior. He's ready to run a couple people over. Came from LSU. And then the receiving core. Oh, it's funny how you have a really good receiving core where everyone's healthy. Isn't that well? Maybe because you actually throw them the ball and they have a chance to catch it, they act like they're not injured. So Caden Lee, Harrison Wallace, who was hurt last year against us, Caleb Cunningham, all these guys they're going to be running straight by us. Well, they probably won't have to run by us because we're going to let them be wide open, and then they're just going to easily catch it and then pray we can tackle them when they catch it. This is a game where Ole Miss is going to probably score 31 points on an off game. And our offense is not capable of scoring more than 17 on an on game. You know? so so even if like Ole Miss plays their least efficient, least effective game, and we play our most efficient, most effective game, they're still 13 points better, 14 points better, which is what the spread is. So, you know, I don't buy the whole Lane Kiffin wants to run the score up on Florida. Lane Kiffin just wants to win the game because I think at the end of the day, he realizes that this is a tricky game. And Lane Kiffin also realizes that if I do go to Florida, uh, I don't want, them thinking that I rubbed it in.
Yep.
So Lane Kiffin will get to a point to where he realizes Florida can't score on us, and we're already up by 20. Let's run the ball and just we'll have a bye week. Let's not get anyone injured because the game against Mississippi State, the Egg Bowl, is actually the game that we probably need to come prepared to play. So, because that's going to be the game that's going to determine whether or not we go 11-1 and have a chance to be there at the end. So that's how I think this game is going to go. I think Ole Miss, the fact that they can just score at will regardless of I mean, they've played very good defenses this season, and although they didn't play Alabama, and I don't think they played Texas A&M, which is kind of weird. I mean, they give us all the tough games, but maybe
Yeah,
they.
no, just sorry to mean to cut you off. I just want to throw this in there. They are 39th in the strength of schedule when it comes to like their offense playing defenses. So their defensive strength of schedule that they're usually playing is 39th. So yeah, I totally agree. But they, like you said, they haven't played a lot of the big time defenses. So we'll see what happens. And Florida's defense statistically is like a top 20 defense.
Yeah, if we actually played hard in this game and didn't mail it in, we could make it somewhat of a game. But who knows what the mentality is? There's 4 key matchups in the game, real quick, before I turn it over to you, Logan. The Ole Miss pass rush. Uman Mielen is back. Oh Lord. Here's the funny thing. All of our players transfer to all these teams, and they end up like Braun. I don't even if anyone remembers the offensive tackle Braun from he transferred to Kentucky on the big run that they had, the 60-yard touchdown run. He's the one that's out there mowing people over to let the running back go 60 yards. So Uman Mielen's going to be out there terrorizing whoever we put at quarterback. Who knows at this point? I'd put . Bailey out there if it, but Perkins and Womack are going to just terrorize us. And their defensive line is actually very good. All 4 starters are above average on PFF, which is not good for us because we need to actually be able to hand the ball off and run to have a chance. Chambliss against the secondary. Chambliss is going to win. He's, Cutter Boley did 78% pass completion. So, Chambliss is going to be able to do the same thing against our very soft coverage. Lacey against our run defense. We allowed 230-something yards rushing against Kentucky. Not a good sign going to Oxford. Lacey's going to have the advantage there, presumably. And then Lane Kiffin, the coaching advantage. Kiffin versus Billy Gonzalez. I mean, obviously, Lane Kiffin's got the advantage there. So it just does not look good. 3 weeks ago, I'd probably like, oh, yeah, we got a chance to go to Oxford and make it a game. Let's just hope that we make it a game. But that's the thing. That's how these things usually go. Usually we think that we're going to get destroyed, and it ends up being a game. And just like last week, we thought we were going to win, and we get destroyed. So, the opposite could happen. But, I just think Ole Miss is from a talent profile, we actually have a better roster according to 247 in terms of the roster rankings. But when you're better coached, you have a scheme. The players execute the scheme. They know their roles. They know their responsibilities. They know what they're supposed to do every single play. That team usually wins, and that's we're projecting to happen in this game on Saturday.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. That you pretty much hit every point. I don't have too much to expand on. I mean, this offense for Ole Miss, though, like you said, is pretty dangerous. Before we dive into it, let's talk Morgandi, I think, popped in the chat. So it looks like you guys maybe spoke about DJ already. Had a buddy text me, DJ's not looking good this season. Man, I just feel like he's top tier quarterback, though. Thoughts? He has the potential to be if he can get his footwork and fundamentals down, but that might be long gone, man. So we did kind of dive into that a little bit earlier, though. Kenny said, this team makes every team look good, man. We suck. Stevens is worn out. Rob, hey, what's going on, Rob? Rob's in the chat. Said, damn, you guys seen how awesome Trammell played? Psych. I told you his offense is trash. Doesn't matter what quarterback plays in it. That's great, man. Yeah, we dove into that a little bit earlier, Rob. It was definitely a sad conversation. But going back to the Ole Miss offense, like I said, 39th in strength of schedule, though. So they haven't played a lot of great defenses. At the time, LSU looked really good. Now their defense is kind of questionable. But yeah, they haven't really played all the big defenses really in the SEC. They are 10th in explosive plays, which is pretty scary. So that's not great. Good news is we rank 22nd against explosive plays on defense. So that obviously when you play a too high safety look, you're going to play well against the explosive plays. And so there is that, EJ. So just a little bit of light right there. If we can stop the explosive plays, I think there's a good chance that we can at least make them, come up with these really methodical drives to go down the field, which I think gives us our offense a chance at least, to just kind of recoup, figure out what we need to do, and we'll get a couple stops out of that. This is not an invincible offense by Lane Kiffin. You can get stops, and I think the way to do that is to force them to drive the ball down the field. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to miss a couple of throws. This offensive line that they have isn't great, and so if we can get pressure with this front four, which is possible, we'll get to the PFF stats in a minute that show that. I'll put it on screen for you guys. I think the Gators actually have a decent chance if the offense can play efficiently, and we'll get into that in a second. They're third in per play efficiency on offense. That's ridiculous. I mean, that's I think Indiana's above them and Ohio State. And those make total sense. So it's ridiculous.
The number 1 and number 2 teams in the country. Oh,
yeah, literally.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's literally the only 2 teams above them in offense. So that's it's a problem, EJ. And like you said, you talked about Trinidad Chambliss, man. This guy's unbelievable. He throws all over the field. That's what's scary about him. He doesn't just favor one section of the field. His PFF for 20-plus yards down the field passing is 94.
I remember we had a quarterback that was in the 95 last year. What happened to him?
Exactly. 94. This guy is 2024 DJ Lagway. Ridiculous, man. He does not miss down the field. 94, EJ. Against these safeties, that's scary. There's not a single threat in the wide receiver room. They're all great. He has 4 receivers and 2 tight ends that he loves to throw the ball to. And they all have great yardage and great stats. So it's not like we can just single out a guy. At least with Kentucky, we kind of single out Kendrick Law. And they had that other really good receiver, too, that made a couple of nice plays. But Kendrick Law, it was the really big one, and we didn't do that, and look what happened. So even if we wanted to, we're not able to do that here. His passing grade, when not pressured, is almost an 80. His passing grade while blitzed is a 74. And so, in other words, we don't need it for just game plan here for defense. We don't need to actually blitz a lot, which we don't anyway with Ron Roberts, which is good. Like I said, this defense kind of lines up with the best defensive style if we played a little bit better, to at least scheme-wise lines up to the best when it comes to playing this Lane Kiffin style of offense. So we have the 2 safeties deep to try to stop the explosive plays. Like I said, we're 22nd in the country, so we might be able to do something there. And then they don't, this quarterback plays almost better when you blitz him. And so we don't obviously blitz a lot. So if we can get pressure with this front 4, which is possible, by the way, their blocking has not been great this year. There is a chance. There is a chance. The big scary thing about that is the rushing attack is really scary. So even if we get great pressure, Trinidad Chambliss, this dude scrambles all over the place, averaging 4.5 yards an attempt, and he loves to rush to the left side of the field off the left tackle for some reason. He's averaging 5.6 yards off the left tackle on maybe 5.4, somewhere around there. That's ridiculous, dude. So for some reason, he's a right-handed quarterback, but likes to go out to that left side. So keep an eye out there in this game. He really, really likes to run out to that side. And, of course, you have the running back. Is it Keywan Lacey? This guy's unbelievable. 863 yards on the year, averaging 4.6 yards a carry, 13 touchdowns. Has not fumbled the ball. He doesn't make mistakes. Trinidad Chambliss also does not make mistakes. I think he's only had 2 interceptions on the year, right? I believe. This running back does not like really any side in particular, EJ. He likes to just run all over the field. And so he doesn't have a tendency, which is very scary. So we're just going to have to do a very good job holding the edge here. But he likes to run up the middle too, so the linebackers are this front 7. This game's going to rely on the front 7. I'm scared. It's going to happen. Look, I'm scared about the zone defense that we play and Trinidad picking that apart, which I'm sure he will with this receiving core and his arm himself. and the injuries we have on defense with Flowers and some they were just picking on these young guys out there. Kentucky was. I can only imagine what Lane Kiffin's going to do. But it's going to really rely on this front seven, because if they're able to really run the ball, if Trinidad's able to scramble out, if we're going to have to start blitzing, it's going to get very ugly very quick. And I mean, they're going to put 35 plus on us, right? And maybe even in the 40s. It's going to look nasty. But if we're able to stop this rushing attack and have this front four not only get pressure on Trinidad, but also do a really good job stopping this run and containing this run, I think the Gators have a shot. So that's kind of my defensive plan for this offense. There is a chance there, like I said. Definitely our scheme lines up the best, I would say, with this offense. So if everyone does their job, the Gators definitely have a chance. And I think you made a great point, EJ. This is just one of those games that's a weird game for Lane Kiffin, right? There's a lot of emotion in this game. The Gators now, everyone's doubting them. They're coming off of a really bad loss. Do the Gators break here, or do they come in and play really good football? This game is going to really be this game is going to determine how these last two games are going to go against Tennessee and against Florida State. It's the last road game of the year. So I think the Gators, they're 0-5 on road games this season. So they need to come out and dominate. And I think I think the emotion's going to be there. So there's a chance that the Gators can. I'm not saying Trinidad's going to make mistakes, EJ. I'm just saying that they're going to go down the field, obviously get some touchdowns. It's going to happen in this game. They're going to probably score at least 3 or 4 touchdowns. But maybe we can get some stops. Maybe we can do some simulated pressures and confuse him a little bit. Get him out of rhythm. Stop the run a little bit early on. That's going to be the key to this Gator defense. Maybe he misses some throws. That's going to be the key to this game. I think it's very possible. It almost leans in our favor in that sense. So we'll see what happens there. Defensively for Ole Miss, EJ, they look pretty. You could take advantage of them for sure. They look vulnerable in some sense. 42 in total defense. Kentucky, just as comparison, was 32. Efficiency per drive is 33. Kentucky is 15th. And so they are worse in efficiency per drive and per play. And so that is a good thing to look at. This Gator offense struggled heavily against this Kentucky defense. There is some inconsistencies there we can take advantage of. They are 70th in negative plays. The Kentucky Wildcats were 72nd. And so they're not going to create a lot of negative plays. Now, Kentucky, I think, did have 5 tackles for loss against this Florida Gator offense. Expect something similar. Obviously, that's a little bit better than what Kentucky's used to. And now with, and I think they had 1 sack as well. And now with Ole Miss, they're not used to getting a lot of negative plays. So if we can not be behind the chains and get us some 3rd and shorts, I think we have a chance. Their explosive plays that they let up on defense is 30th in the country. Kentucky's 32nd. We weren't able to have any explosive plays really down the field. DJ Lagway missed an explosive play down the field. Just missed a wide open. Who was it? Was it T.J. Abrams? It might have been Abrams down the field that DJ missed in this game. Missed him wide open. It was pretty bad. So you're gonna have some of those plays. You can't miss those throws against this Ole Miss team. You have to hit him, and I think that's what's gonna determine if Florida comes up with an upset and if they lose. It's gonna be when those opportunities do present themselves, because they do. Their rush defense is 45th. Their pass defense is 38th. They are susceptible to plays. It's just going to be, can DJ Lagway or Tramel Jones, whoever's going to start this game, can they hit those throws? DJ Lagway has shown not to be able to hit those throws. There was another play. I think it was Sturdivant on that seam route. Do you remember? Not seam route. I think it was just a go route. It was Mizell. Mizell had a step on the defender, remember, in the Kentucky game, and he just underthrew him. He let the defender get back into the play. If you do that against this team of Ole Miss, you're not going to win the game. That is the margin of error in this game. You have to hit those throws. You have to wrap up on defense. You just cannot make mistakes in this game. If you let up, that's my defensive key. Hold them, and this is unrealistic, I know, but this is just what we're going to have to do to win this game. Hold them to 2 or less plays of 20, 2 or less pass plays of 20 plus yards. if they have more than 2 pass plays of more than 20 yards, the game's automatically over, in my opinion. You cannot have any busted coverages. You have to make them earn those yards. Make Trinidad stay in the pocket and deliver these passes for 60 minutes or 30, I guess, if technically. So that's my key on defense. Offensive key is no turnovers. DJ Lagway, Tramel Jones, just don't turn over the ball. If you don't turn over the ball, we're fine. I think we had 4 turnovers against Kentucky. Those are 4 drives that could have come up with something. And those are also 4 drives that allowed Kentucky to start out with decent field position and also have momentum on their side, right? So don't turn the ball over. If we didn't turn over the ball against Kentucky, I think that's a totally different game. I'm not saying we win the game. I'm saying it's a different game. I think the Gators have to not have any turnovers in this game, whether it's fumbling the ball or throwing interceptions. Rob S. said receivers have to make Kentucky scored on an. They have to make plays Kentucky scored on an underthrown. Yeah, but still though, I mean those were. The one underthrown pass we're talking about, I believe you're talking about the behind the shoulder grab. That wasn't really an underthrown. That was a pretty well placed ball by Boley. But I do agree the receivers definitely do have to start making some plays here. EJ, anything that you want to expand on what I just talked about?
No, I agree with your keys. No turnovers, because then the game's immediately over. The whole 2 major plays, 2 20-yard, they're probably going to get down on the first drive. But here's the interesting thing. If we actually had a strategy on defense, like Roberts usually goes out there, okay, we'll make adjustments, we'll let them score on the first drive, but then they're not going to score for the rest of the game. They'll score minimally for the rest of the game. And this is a game where you've got to say, we got to take something away. Either we're going to bail out and try to stop the run, because Ole Miss, 50%. What is their? I think Ole Miss is 50%. Oh yeah, they're 50-50. They're 49.9% run plays, 50.1% pass plays. So you've got to decide as a defense. We're going to stop for these balanced teams. You have to say, we're going to stop the run. Forget the pass. Man to man, if they make plays, if they moss us, oh well. But they're not running. Or you say, we're going to stop the pass. So we're going to have front 4. We're going to double team these outside receivers. We're going to have a deep safety. We're going to have a guy over the middle. And we're going to stop the pass game. They're going to run 3, 4, 5 yards. If they're going to run the whole game, fine. But you have to devote to stopping something. If we come out with the little vanilla 10-yard cushion, just let them have it your way, like Burger King, the game's over. Okay? You got to try to stop something. And then I go back and I look at these Ole Miss games. And I'm just like, okay. Arkansas got 500-some yards on Ole Miss. Washington State, had like 400 yards. And I'm like, why can't we do that? Why can't we? Oh, because we throw interceptions. And we end drives. So, like you said, no turnovers. The other thing, real quick, that I'll say is, the Ole Miss defense does have some vulnerabilities, like you were saying. The safeties haven't been as elite. But it's kind of like, well, do you really even need elite safeties when you're playing Florida? Because are we even going to try to to test them? So that's the other thing that kind of scares me. And then on our offense, I'll say this. If we can actually step up and get an interception, get a turnover, and make Trinidad Chambliss lose a little bit of confidence, like make him hesitate just slightly, or even make Lane Kiffin hesitate to throw the ball deep down the field. Um, that's a win for us. But the fact that I don't think we'll be able to do that because we're not going to devote to stopping either the run or the pass, gives me caution, gives me pause. Last year, how do we beat them? Well, we had a great defensive line. Caleb Banks actually played. Tyreek Sapp actually was out there sacking people coming off the edge. Jack Pyburn was playing. He was actually getting out there sacking people. We had injuries in the secondary last year, but we got like 2 interceptions in a row. They called one a non-catch, came back and got the nut. We were balling. You got to come out and do the same thing. Get pressure. The offensive line for Ole Miss is still not as great as it was, or great as it could be. That's their one vulnerability. If you can get a pass rush, hopefully we'll do something like that. It's just the concern of, can we score enough points, is the issue. We haven't really. There's some point you have to have a mentality to how do you know how to win a game? And I think our best strategy, if I was Billy Gonzalez, is let's just see if we can stay within a score or 2 scores. If we can stay between 1 and 2 scores throughout the game, our team still has a belief that we can win this game. How do you do that? Because if you get to a point to where it's a 3 touchdown lead, we're not even scoring 3 touchdowns for the whole game. So there you go.
There you go. Oh man! All right, EJ, do you want to make the score predictions here?
Let's do it.
All right, you want to go first?
Yeah. All right. So, assuming that we actually come in and give them a game, which I do think we're capable of, I say we can get up to 16 points in the game, which is like nothing, but hey, 16 points. And I think we can hold them to 31. So, assuming we play decent football, and remember, they're a top 5 team. So, we played a top 5 team in Jacksonville. So assuming we do the same, 31-16, if we come out and lay an egg, it could look like the Texas game from last year, to be honest with you, where I think our quarterback situation is a little bit better than that one. But the Texas game, as you all remember, was 49-17. So if we come out and do the same, mail it in, it can be around that same 49-7, 45-10 type of game. But I'm going to say we're going to play hard. We're going to be right there in the end. It's going to be 24-16. And then Ole Miss is going to run one in the end zone and make it 34-16, covering the spread and winning the game. And that's how the game's going to end.
I like it. I agree. I think the Gators are going to come out here and they're going to play very well. This is like the most Florida thing to ever do, right? Is to get destroyed by Kentucky and then go, nose to nose with Ole Miss here. We do it every single time we play them. We actually we own them. We do own them. Just saying. Last 3 meetings that was 2015, 2020, and then in 2024, those are 3 wins for us. So, I think the Gators are going to play hard. I think this Ole Miss, I disagree on the pass. Flowers was trailing the receiver. You don't throw a back shoulder pass. No, I get that. I'm going to take Florida taking the L here, 24-17. I think the Gators, once again, you just can't throw a turnover. If there's a turnover, then this goes from 24-17 to 31-10, personally. But I think that just this is a hope. This is me just being hopeful. I think the Gators don't turn the ball over. I think that we might even get a turnover ourselves, but I just can't really trust this offense much, and I think the defense is just gonna. I think it's gonna be a time of possession game for Ole Miss, which I know sounds weird because they're so explosive, but I think that they're going to. No, you're good, Rob. I think that we're going to force them to go down the field. I don't think they're going to have as many explosive plays as they're used to having. And I think they're going to have to come up with these super long, methodical drives, which they're going to be able to do because they have the third, best per play efficiency on offense. But I think that's going to give us a shot. I just don't think we can get it done. I think we lose 24-17, which is pretty funny and pretty poetic because I think that was the same score last year when we beat Ole Miss. So we'll see what happens, but I have Ole Miss getting the dub here, man. Down there in Oxford, Mississippi. As long as it's not a blowout. That's all. As long as it's not a big blowout, I'm okay with the DJ.
Yep.
So we'll see. Ole Miss. What's going on, Tim? Timothy Anderson said 42-6 Ole Miss. Gators have 9 interceptions this season. Team has given up. Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing, man. That's the thing, Tim. We were talking about it. We're like, this game is kind of the last resort, right? Is it? Have the Gators fully given up? I mean, it looked like it against Kentucky, but like I said, it's the last away game of the year. I'm sure Billy G is gonna, be on their ass about the performance, and I think they're gonna come out and they're gonna play a little bit hard in this one. I think me and EJ kind of both agree. It's gonna be one of those weird games after a big blowout. We're gonna come back. We're gonna perform well. I think we have Ole Miss's number. Kind of like how Kentucky has ours, and I think we're going to go in there and play well. So we'll see. 42-6 would make total sense as well. Like, I could totally see that happening. DJ coming out, throwing another 3 picks. Like, that makes total sense. I just think that there might be something there. And so I got a feeling about this game that it's going to be a little bit closer.
Yeah, and it's always the opposite that happens. I mean, last year, Ole Miss was, Ole Miss is going to beat Florida 45-10 on their home field, because we got beat the same by Texas, And what happened? Completely different game, right? Hell, Kentucky fans were all picking them to win. And what did they do? Beat us 38-7. So this is what happens. Like, you just have to see how the game starts and how it unfolds. And do we have a game plan? Do you have a strategy? Yeah. But I could hey, if they beat us 42-6, and I would not be surprised.
Timothy said, "What's the injury report?" The injury report don't come out until Wednesday, and then they update it every single day, I believe, that Thursday and Friday. So we won't know until Wednesday, Timothy. But yeah, we'll see, man. It's gonna be a wild one. It's gonna be a fun one. There's something I was gonna say, I cannot remember. But all right, that's going to be our preview on the Ole Miss game, man. We'll see what happens. Go Gators, as always. Woo. EJ, we got a couple more segments. We got 3, I believe, here. Were we going to go through the coaching thing first, or we're going to do the slate? I forgot what we decided on.
Let's
coaching, right?
Do the coaching. Yeah.
Let's do coaching. Let's do it. The game was lost in that KD. The KD Daniels. I agree. I totally agree. That was a big one.
That was their turning points in games. That was a turning point.
Yep, because they just went right down the field again. Oh, that was brutal. All right, we're gonna do a little updated coaching carousel thing here. We're gonna give you guys our 6 coaches that we personally like on a ranking of 1 to 4, and then our 2 honorable mentions, I believe, is how we have it structured. So you guys let us know your top 5 or top 6 and go through it with us. But we're gonna go through each of these together. So EJ, let's just go through. Should we do 1 through 6, or should we like separately, or should we just do them together? Do you think?
Yeah, maybe let's just do them together.
I agree. Let's try to do that. I mean, we have the same number 1. I think everyone has the same number 1, right? Lane Kiffin still to this day. One thing I'm worried about, though, after this Kentucky loss, EJ, do you think that this changes Lane's opinion on coming to Florida?
No, not at all. I mean, people are saying, who'd want to come to Florida? It's such a shit show and it's such a major turnaround. No, it's not. People, it's not. It's not a major turnaround. Like, you just need a quarterback coach to come out and coach guys that you can get at Florida that are going to be extremely talented. I mean, on a bad year, we still out recruit Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin's been there 6 years. How many top 10 classes has he pulled in at Ole Miss? We've been pulling in top 10 classes with half-ass performances on the last 8-9 years. So you complement on default, we have top 10 level recruiting, plus the fact that Lane Kiffin has the ability to supplement that with transfer portal. He could have a much better team at Florida than he's had 6 years at Ole Miss. And the thing about Ole Miss is like, well, why would he want to leave? Lane Kiffin, again, folks, unless he's completely changed, Lane Kiffin is just like any other high performer. They like change, right? And 6 years, so next year would be a 7th year at Ole Miss. That's a little bit of a long time. And I always believe when your stock is the highest, you got to make a change. Because look at what has happened to a lot of these coaches, right? When their stock was high, they didn't go, and now they're rock bottom, right? So there you go. So I do think Lane Kiffin's still number one, and I don't think Florida losing 55-0 for the rest of the season, it doesn't mean anything. If he's going to come to Florida, he's going to come to Florida. So now there are some people that are saying that he's going to wait until after the Florida game when Ole Miss beats us to then say, "Oh, I'm staying at Ole Miss."
Oh, that would be insane, dude. Could you? That's such a dick move. I mean,
Some people are saying that that's what he's going to do.
which would make sense. I don't know. I just like the more that this goes on, the more that I'm just the timing of him going to the college football playoff. They're probably going to make a little bit of a run. I'm not saying that they're going to. I don't think they're going to go past the semis, but or probably get to the semis. But still, that's pretty deep into the year, EJ. I'm worried that that's just going to be a little bit late, and we're going to miss out on some of these other coaches that we could get. He's also the most expensive coach. Well, I guess Lincoln Riley's probably the most expensive coach, but he's one of the most expensive coaches for sure. At least salary-wise, he would be the most. He just has a little bit of a less, or a lot of a less buyout than Lincoln Riley. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, I don't know. I just don't have a lot of hope. I won't believe it until I see it. And all of it does make sense. We talked about it before. Like you said, his wife's a Florida Gator alumni. She's a Gator. He's a big Steve Spurrier fan. That's why he wears the visor and why he runs the offense the way he does and why he talks the shit the way that he talks the shit. Like, he is a young Steve Spurrier. That Gator logo means so much to these coaches and so much to college football fans. It's one of the most iconic logos in college football, and I think he knows that Lane Kiffin wants to win. And I think he knows that if he comes to the University of Florida, you might be able to win a national championship at Ole Miss, maybe. But this is probably their year to do it, and they're not going to do it. And so that's the thing. You're probably never going to win a championship at Ole Miss. You can go back to back at the University of Florida. You can build a dynasty at the University of Florida. And I think that he understands that, and he fits the mold of a UF coach so well that I think that there's something there. But once again, is he going to make that move? His family's happy in Oxford. I don't know. He's going to be a legend in Oxford. He's probably not going to be a legend at the University of Florida unless he wins at least a couple of natties. So that, there's that as well. There's the expectations. What do you want to do? And I think, like you said, he is a winner. So he's probably going to lean toward coming to UF, but I don't know, EJ. If we sign him, we're also stuck with him for probably at least 6 years.
Well, here's the thing. Let's just say this. Like I was saying, at Florida, a lot of Ole Miss fans, well, it's a lateral move. Ole Miss is just as good a job. if your coach is always a candidate for another job every year, spoiler alert, the current job is not one of the top jobs in the country. Okay, I don't know what it makes people, what it'll convince people that that's the case. But if Lane Kiffin's going 10-2, 11-1 at Florida every year, you're not a candidate anywhere else. You know why? Because Florida's a top job. Okay, look at Elko at Texas A&M. Is anyone saying, "Oh, we're gonna hire Elko? He's our number one candidate"? No, because Texas A&M is a top job, even though they haven't won a championship since, maybe the cadets were real. But it's they probably will this year though. They got a pretty good little team. I like Texas A&M. But here's the deal. Like I was saying, at Florida, to win a championship, you have to have a good top 10 recruiting, and you also have to supplement that with the transfer portal. At Ole Miss, you don't have recruiting. You bust your ass. Why does Lane Kiffin hate recruiting? Because he has to bust his ass to get the freshmen to come to Ole Miss. So you're never going to have elite recruiting at Ole Miss. You can only have transfer portal, which he does a great job at transfer portal because that's the only thing you can get. And Lane Kiffin's a really good coach. So if you don't have the foundation with development from freshmen who have been there with elite transfer portal, you're never going to be good enough to win the title, which is why you're never going to be better than Georgia. You're never going to be better than Ohio State. You're never going to be better than Alabama. Maybe you'll be better than and which is why games against Kentucky or Tennessee or Florida always scare you, because the roster from a depth standpoint is always equal at these schools that are having worse seasons than you. It's why Arkansas runs the ball for 300 yards on you and gains almost 550 yards, because you have an equal roster to them. So if you want to get beyond that and start having the type of talent disparity like you have at Georgia or Ohio State, you got to go to one of these top schools that get the recruiting plus the transfer portal.
Yep.
And if Lane Kiffin wants to stay at Ole Miss and see if he can win a national championship by only having talent through the transfer portal, then hey, maybe then, he could do that, and then his stock will eventually erode because he's never won anything and no one's going to want him anymore. So you got to go when your stock is high. Now, is he going to Florida? I would say he's going to Florida more than any other job. I mean, I definitely don't see him going to Penn State. I definitely don't see him going to Auburn. LSU, I don't see him going to LSU either. Why? Who the hell wants to go to LSU? The governor is rigging the thing in LSU. So Florida's the only thing. Now, here's the deal. If he hasn't come out and said anything, people are saying, well, he's not going to say anything because he wants more money. Well, here's the thing. If you're Ole Miss, why are you paying a coach? He's making $9 million right now at Ole Miss. If you're not ever going to be good enough to win titles like Georgia or Ohio State, why are you paying a coach more than the coaches that get paid there? So that's the economic conundrum that Ole Miss has to deal with. Okay, you want to keep Lane Kiffin? Fine. Overpay him. Pay him more than what Ryan Day is getting at Ohio State, what Kirby Smart's getting at Georgia, for you to never be as good as those teams. That makes perfect sense to me. Right? No. Because everyone's an idiot that thinks that. So the reality is, if you want to keep Lane Kiffin Ole Miss, you're going to have to pay him way more than what actual coaches at actual programs that actually win the title get. Now, we say all that to say, is Ole Miss good enough to win the title this year? I don't think so. I mean, in a one-game scenario, maybe. But you have to win what is this? If you don't get the bye, you got to win 4 games?
Yep. Which is insane. That gauntlet is ridiculous, dude.
Yeah, there's no way. You probably got to play Pop Warner. Well, hell, if you got to play USF in the first game, that'll be a tough game. Now they did beat Tulane, but who knows? Then you got to play, you got to probably play like a Texas A&M caliber team. Then you got to play an Alabama caliber team. Then you got to play Ohio State in the championship.
Indiana. It's like, there's no way he's going to be able to keep up with. Yeah, it's not going to happen.
How are you winning 4 straight games against that when you don't have? So I don't think it's happening. Now, so that's the thing. Maybe he stays at Ole Miss, and let me stay at Ole Miss because they're happy with just going 9-3 and just making the playoff every year, and they don't care about winning national championships at Ole Miss. Maybe that's the case. Who knows? But at the end of the day, I still think he's the number 1 target for Florida until he comes out himself and says, I am not going to Florida. I am staying at Ole Miss because the Ole Miss fans love me so much, even though half the stadium is empty during the Citadel game. Okay? So there you go.
Yep. I agree. I don't got to expand on any of that. All right, let's go to our number 2 here. What did Lane tweet? Lane retweeted Tramel Jones coming in. They posted Tramel Jones subbing in for the benching thing. He retweeted that, which is pretty funny. Let's go to our number 2s, EJ. Do you want to go first here?
Okay, so my number 2, my top 3 has changed a little bit. But my number 2 is now going to be the Jeff Brom Louisville coach.
Let's go.
I think Jeff Brom is, here's the deal. If you don't get, what's-a-majigger, Lane Kiffin, you got to have a proven winner. Jeff Brom is really the only proven winner that you have. He was at Purdue. Purdue was actually a legit team when he was there. They upset Ohio State, which was huge. And he turned Louisville into a contender in just 2 years. They beat Miami. They have a really good defense. And they have an offense that no matter who's the quarterback, they actually can play. So, I think Jeff Brom is probably the least risky person after Lane Kiffin that you'll at least have a good team. The only issue is the recruiting, which, like I said, even with lackluster recruiting, we're still top 10 recruiting classes.
He's doing great at recruiting.
He's doing good.
He's like top 20, 22 at Louisville, which is impressive. Which is
very impressive. So you'll be in the top 10 at Florida. You just throw a rock and hit a 5-star. So, so now that with good offense and competent defense, we can be back to at least being like what Tennessee looks every year. Like at least a team that is going to win 9, maybe 10 games a year. And maybe he can break through. So Brom's my number 2. What about you?
No, he's my number 2 as well. I really wanted to switch him with my number 3, who you can probably guess who that's going to be. But I was like, I don't know if I should put him above, but I agree. Jeff Brom's just proven a lot more. Everything you talked about, recruiting, the offensive scheme is phenomenal. He wins big games. A lot of people point to, he loses, games he shouldn't lose to. For example, Louisville last night lost to Cal, and a just unbelievable game, right? At Louisville, it was ridiculous. We'll get into Lincoln Riley in 1 second. Here's the thing. Jeff Brom, talent-wise, is pretty similar to some of these other teams. You got to realize that as well. When he was at Purdue, he would beat Ohio State, did all that, right? And just destroyed their hopes, and it was wild. And then they go and then they lose to, a kind of an average Big Ten team. He did that with less talent. So you got to understand. Same thing with like Kurt Cignetti, right? Like this guy is beating all these big teams with like the 60th most talented roster in college football. That is unbelievable. That's unheard of. All right. That's it. It's, you can't even fathom it. Jeff Brom is beating these big teams with less talent, very similar to Kurt Cignetti, except he does lose he's like a I don't say a worse Kurt Signetti, but just kind of the same style, I guess. But he does lose some of these games when he has more of a similar talent level. And so people got to understand that. Yeah, he loses games that probably on paper doesn't look great. Like when you're the number 15 team in the country at Louisville, and then you lose to an unranked Cal team that is 5-4, you go, oh, they're trash. That was a really bad loss. It wasn't really a horrible loss. I mean, is that a game you want to lose? No. But talent-wise, they don't look too different. You have a Cal quarterback who I absolutely love. And I'm not going to even try to say his last name, but Jaron, I think is his first name. Phenomenal, young guy, very explosive. Also, too, you have Jeff Brom working with Miller Moss, who's a transfer from USC, who's a guy just is turnover prone, and he's taken a step forward, and he has developed Miller Moss into a decent quarterback. So you really got to look at everything at a, as a whole here. And what he has done, like you said, at Western Kentucky, I think first, then Purdue, and then now at Louisville has been phenomenal. The only negative thing with Jeff Brom is he's a Louisville grad. He's a Louisville alumni. He played quarterback for Louisville back, I think, in the 90s. So that is kind of the one issue with him is, will he leave his school? Probably not. Even if we offer him, 11, 12 mil, whatever. I don't know if he leaves his school. He's a little bit older as well. You know what I mean? I think he's pretty content being there. But, man, I would love him to be the next Gator coach, too, if we were not able to get Lane Kiffin. So I'm with you there, EJ. I'm totally with you. Let's go to our number 3. I'll just talk about my number 3 first because I know we're definitely not in alignment here. I have Jedd Fisch as my number 3. I love this guy, man. I know people – EJ's not big on him. Oh, wait, let me talk about Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley's buyout is $80 to $90 million, so we're definitely not going to get Lincoln Riley. That's not happening at all. Jedd Fisch, though, turned around Arizona, turned around Washington. They did lose, I believe, to Wisconsin this past week, but Wisconsin also gave Oregon a run for their money, and I also think who's getting an extension? Just let us know, Kenny. I really like Jedd Fisch. Like I said, turned around those 2 programs. He lost to Wisconsin, which was not a great loss this past week, but I did watch it. Play calling was phenomenal. The offense, they put the players in the right position. It was more of an execution issue, I would say, from viewing it. People look at his overall winning record, and they go, all right, we don't like that. I think he's under 500, but he went 1-11 his first year at Arizona when he came into an absolute just horrific program, made them to, I think, a 10-4 team his last season. Just absolutely brought them out of the depths. Went to Washington, which was totally deteriorated after Kalen DeBoer went to Alabama. They had nothing there at Washington. Came in when I think 6-7 last year, and then this past season has really done a great job bringing Washington back to a name. Teams are scared to play Washington in the Big Ten again. So he's done a really good job at those 2 programs, man. He's a graduated from the University of Florida, was a graduate assistant under Steve Spurrier back in 2000. Understands the culture, understands the University of Florida. He does not like being in Washington. His wife hates Seattle. He wants to leave. I think he wants to come to the Swamp, and I think he'd be a great offensive coach here. Does he have the same upside as Jeff Brom, as Lane Kiffin? No. But just something to kind of keep an eye out on. I think he just, out of all these guys, he understands Florida culture, the most. And I think that's something that we need to bring back is having players that love to play for it. And I think Billy did a good job. Billy Napier did a really good job in having a good culture. But it was more of like a good culture of playing for your team, not a good culture of playing for the university, in my opinion. Just didn't really stick with a lot of the traditions. I don't know. It wasn't a tradition-rich program, if that makes sense, EJ. And I think Jedd Fisch can bring that back. So he's my number 3 personally.
Okay. So Jedd Fisch was my number 3, but I dropped him to number 4 this week after I went to the USF game, because now my new number 3 is Sir Alex Golesh, Soviet Union. Okay, they got more nuclear missiles than we do over there in Russia, if anyone is counting. Okay, I just saw the Netflix movie House of Dynamite, and I'm like, you know what? We're basically in that situation with our coaching situation.
Yeah.
Did you see that movie?
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it, but I know what it is. I know what you're talking about.
Okay, yeah. We're if you watch the movie, we're in that situation with our coaching search. Okay, and now I'm going to Alex Golish, and it's high risk, high reward. And the reason I said Alex Golish, this is a guy that they have a Tennessee style offense. Okay, now I'm thinking, well, the Tennessee offense, they score 50 something points against Kentucky, but then you play Georgia, you can barely score 20. But then I think to myself, well, it's because at Tennessee, you don't have the elite talent profile that you can get at Florida. I think you can probably get a little bit more elite playmaking ability at Florida. Okay. I think Alex Golish is also a very good in-game coach as well. He uses all three phases of the game to try to win games. Right? He has a great eye for talent on the defensive side of the ball, playmakers. He uses special teams. He's got, if anyone remembers Grammatica, the kicker, the famous kicker with the Buccaneers, his son is now the kicker at USF, making 60-yard field goals like it's nothing, even though he missed one the other week. Uh, he loves special teams. The last time we had a coach that liked special teams was Urban Meyer, and look how that worked out. He's an offensive innovator. Okay, spread the field, run the ball, and then throw it. So people are, well, he's G5. We shouldn't be hiring a G5 coach. Well, who else do you got if you don't got Lane Kiffin? So, and the last reason I'll say this. I was thinking the other day, Penn State, who the hell are they going to get? They were talking about Clark Lee. Okay, you're really down bad, Penn State, if you're going to trade one former Vandy coach for another Vandy coach. You might as well keep Franklin if you're going for Clark Lee. Now, what Penn State should do is they should get Josh Heupel from Tennessee. Now you're bringing something to Penn State. Now you can attack people. And then what would Tennessee do? They would drive right down to Tampa and they would hire Golish, who was there as the offensive coordinator 2 years ago. And Tennessee would not miss a beat. I'm telling you that right now. So why the hell we could avoid all that, but just Lane Kiffin, oh, you want to stay at Ole Miss and never win a title? Okay, we'll get Golish. And you know what Golish will do? He's going to get these playmakers that are twice as good as the ones you have. And then when we play, we both can see who runs the no huddle better. And I guarantee you it'll be us. So that's why I'm saying Golish. He's a great guy. He's very smart, by the way. He's very, very well dressed, smooth, calm, collected. People don't want him because he's G5. Hell, if we get him, he'd be light years better than Napier. And we'd actually have an offense that you wouldn't have to worry about scoring. I just want to, can we score some points, people? Kentucky had to muff a punt for us to score. So Golish is number 3. He moved up after this week. I don't care what anyone says. You can make fun of him all you want. Golish is putting up points, baby. They scored 50. Hell, they had 21 points and the offense didn't even run a play in their last game.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's points, people. So, Golish, top 3.
All right, give me your number 4, EJ.
All right, my number 4 is Jed Fish. he was my number 3 until this last week. I went to the USF game, and I'm like, okay, Golish is top 3. Jed Fish, I'll say this real quick because I know you touched everything. The alumni effect. I'm seeing all of these coaches go to their alma maters, and you're just naturally invested. You're naturally committed. Kirby Smart is. Oh, by the way, Alex Golish, his alma mater is Ohio State, by the way.
Ooh.
So
Whoa.
there you go. Now, here's the other thing. Ohio State, they're going to get Marcus Freeman. So if Ryan Day can't beat Michigan this year, they're kicking him out, and they're getting Freeman. So anyway, back to Fish. I like Fish. Rockfish. But I like Fish. And all these coaches, Kirby Smart, Brent Key, Jeff Brom, all these people going to their alma maters, they really dig in. They're committed. They know the school. They know the players. They know the geography. They're really all in, and they have their best coaching career, best coaching at their alma mater. And that's what I think Jed Fish will bring. I was looking at his win-loss record. It wasn't great, but they went like 1-10 in 1-11 his first year at Arizona. So, I'll forgive that. Take the year off. Who cares? Wipe it from the history books. Jed Fish. Hey. Now listen. Why are people not going to want him? You don't have a winning record. You don't have any 10-win seasons. You left love notes on Steve Spurrier's car to get the job in the 90s. That's the only SEC experience you have. And the Florida fans are like, who the hell is this guy? I've never heard of him. Guarantee you, 80% of Gator fans are real. Jed Fish, who the hell's that? That's what he's got going against. But we know him. I think he'll come in. We'll have an offense. Like the offense. Now, they didn't score in the second half against Wisconsin. How the hell do you not score any points against the Cheeseheads? You got to put up at least 3 points. They didn't put up any points. That worries me a little bit. Goalish, they may not stop anyone sometimes, but you know what? They're going to score. So that worries me a little bit. But Jed Fish, he's all in. He's my number 4.
I like that. Yeah, you know that I love Jed Fish, man. There's something about it. My number 4 is one that is going to piss a lot of people off because when I first heard this name, I absolutely hated it. But the more that this might be your next one, DJ, the more that I think about it, the more I'm like, why not? And that's James Franklin, which I know I know it's dumb. I know, guys, I know. But here's the thing. No buyout. He's going to be cheap as hell because he's...
Wait, can you see this?
There you go. Dude, I wonder if you can make those into like gator heads or something. That'd be dope.
Oh wait, I think I can. Wait, hold. Wait, hold.
No,
Damn it! I don't think I can do it.
Damn. But yeah, James Franklin. When people first said his name, I was like,
oh, there you go. Look at that.
Hey, yes sir. There you go. I hated it, but no buyout. He's making absolute bank, so he's not going to want a lot of money at all. He just wants to go and coach and just, piss people off. So I think you could it could be a little 3-year experiment. Why the hell not? Which coach will rival fans? Which coach will rival fans love to see at UF the most? That's who you go and get. You mean wouldn't want to see?
Yeah, right. I think that's what he means.
Yeah, I think that's what he. Right. I think it's Lane Kiffin for sure. I think the reason Ole Miss fans have been so aggressive recently and talking so much shit is because they're actually scared that we're about to go steal their coach. But yeah, James Franklin, he has SEC experience. He not only has recruiting connections in the South, but also up north now. He's gonna make Florida into a 10-win season or 10-win program every single year. He's gonna get us into the playoff probably every single year. Question is, can he get us over that hump? I mean, look, the reason that he jumped up into my top 4 now is because look what happened with Penn State. Penn State just blew a game against Indiana without James Franklin against a top 5 team. Listen, I'm just saying, I hated that name James Franklin being thrown around, but the more I think about it, it's not going to cost a lot. Let's do a 2 to 3 year experiment and just see what the hell happens. Why not? Why not? Because other than Lane Kiffin, it's not like there's any like. Here's the thing, EJ. Right? There's no other than Lane Kiffin. There's not a coach that I go, that's the man right there. He's gonna make Florida an added contender. There's not. Right? There's just not after Lane Kiffin. These other guys, Jed Fish, Jeff Brom, they're all great, and I think that they can have success at Florida. But I think it's more of a risk. I think it's more you're taking more of a chance there, rather than with James Franklin. There's a chance that he can lead your team. He won the Big Ten championship last year. There's a chance that he can take you to that next level. Maybe it was a Penn State thing. And because of that, James Franklin's my number 4. I wouldn't be mad with it. Because we wouldn't be stuck with him with like some of these other guys. With Lane Kiffin especially, and Jed Fish and Jeff Brom, we're probably going to be stuck with them for, 4 or 5 years at least on an insane buyout. It's going to cost the program more money. James Franklin's quick and easy. So that's why he's my number 4.
You're seeing the light. You've seen the light. Yes.
Franklin will also get a great staff together. Exactly, because he's not going to ask for a lot of money, so we can put even more money into staff, into players. That's why he's my number 4, man. I wouldn't be mad with it.
Let me tell you. So James Franklin is my number 5.
Okay.
He was my number 3. Remember, he started off high, now he's dropped off a little bit. I would love James Franklin. I've been saying that since the beginning. Listen, folks, there's so many coaching openings. This isn't a normal year. You're going to have to take somebody that was just fired. So guess what? James Franklin, no, you didn't win at Penn State. You're 0-10 versus top 5 teams, top 10 teams. But you know what? Who did you lose to? Oh, Ohio State, Ryan Day. Urban Meyer. Oh, Michigan, John Harbaugh. What's the common denominator between those guys? Those are the national champions. Okay? So, and oh, by the way, you're at Penn State. Who the hell plays football in Penn State? Oh, well, we got Thomas Houck from Pennsylvania. But other than that, who the hell knows? Here's the deal. James Franklin comes to Florida. He walks into the households. You throw a rock, you hit a 5-star household. And he says, listen, we're going to build a championship pedigree here. You're getting a different breed of talent, of playmaker in Florida with James Franklin. Maybe that is what he needed to get over the hump. Because if you go back and you look at all those top 10 games that he lost, he's doing it with one hand tied behind his back because the other teams just have better NFL talent. They got Ohio State. They always have a couple of game breakers. Penn State they have solid players, but never game-breaking talent. You give James Franklin game-breaking talent with his fundamentals. They're always one of the least penalized teams, well coached on the lines of scrimmage. They try to beat you by minimizing mistakes and trying to do the best that they can, and they still keep these games close. It's not like they get annihilated in all these games. So I think you bring in Franklin. You say, hey, he's going to get great coaches. He's going to develop people. He's going to get a couple game breakers. Guess what? Now you're winning 10 games minimum, maybe 11 or 12. We play Kentucky and South Carolina. Well, we're cursing against Kentucky. But you're not playing LSU. You're not playing Tennessee. He can come in immediately. Won't even be, and guess what? He's free, which means no buyout, which means more NIL, which means I can pay more for top-level assistants. Could you imagine we had a top-level assistant? Could you imagine, who would have thought that? So I think James Franklin coming in would be absolutely phenomenal. Maybe you made me rethink. Maybe I put him in the top 3. Who knows? If Lane Kiffin wants to stay at Ole Miss and never win a title, I can almost guarantee give me Golish, give me Franklin. Lane Kiffin is going to be, He may never win a championship. He may never win. He'll be making $15 million at Ole Miss. They'll have to tax the citizens of the state of Mississippi. People will be like, why did my taxes go up? Well, because you wanted to keep Lane Kiffin. How the hell do you think we're going to keep Lane Kiffin at Mississippi? What's our economy? So guess what? James Franklin, Golish. Yes, I love these guys. We're in good shape.
You know what? The more I talk about it, the more I like Franklin, which is weird. I was never a Franklin guy ever, bro. This is so trippy.
And let me tell you this about Franklin. So the Ole Miss, I was listening to the Ole Miss, Locked on Ole Miss guy, who was hilarious, by the way, because last year he was like, oh, we're definitely going to beat Florida. We're going to blow them out. And then guess what happened? We killed them, and he was like, everyone. Now, he said he obviously doesn't want us to get Lane Kiffin. But he said if we got James Franklin, if Florida knew what they were doing, they would hire James Franklin. And he was like, at that point, Florida would be a serious contender because of what I just said. James Franklin couldn't get any game breakers at Penn State, and they still were in the top 10.
They made it to the playoff with Drew Aller.
Drew Aller. You might as well have who's the Make-A-Wish kid we had last year. You might as well have him back there.
Treon Harris would do better.
Harrison Bailey. Hell, why don't we put Harrison Bailey in? So, yeah, Franklin, he was scared that Franklin would go to Florida because he said Franklin would build. He said he'd have top 5 recruiting plus elite coaching plus elite transfer portal, and Florida just by default. Because Franklin's he's a materially better coach than Napier. Napier doesn't know what to do on 3rd and 1, for crying out loud. We would win games just from that alone. So, and by the way, he's free. No buyout. Now he's probably going to want $12 million. Hell, I'd pay him. So, yes.
I'm with you, man. The more I talk about it, the more I like it. My number 5 is John Summerall from Tulane.
Oh!
I mean, I like him a lot. He just had a big-time win over Memphis on Friday. I think they only have 1 loss on the year, if I'm not mistaken. I like him a lot, man. What he's done. Did he come from Troy before this? I think he came from Troy before this. Hold up. Let me look that up. I should have had this up. My bad, guys.
Yeah, so Summerall, he was a coach at Troy. Yep. I remember he was at Kentucky too.
Yes, I believe as a defensive coordinator.
Yeah, and he beat us.
Yep. So defensive coordinator, defensive-minded guy, but here's what's wild, right? This dude has had great offenses everywhere he's been. I guess he just knows how to put an offensive coaching staff together. But at Troy, dominant offense. At Tulane, dominant offense. He knows how to put these great teams together, and because of that, I'm a big fan of him. I think LSU might try to get him. Actually, that's my guess, because Tulane, Louisiana, I think that they're gonna try to snatch him up. But I really like John Summerall. I get that he's a G5 guy, whatever. But Napier was just like, that's the thing. People are so scared to hire a G5 guy now, and I understand you want the splash hire, but there's been so many super successful people that came from G5. Like it doesn't. You don't need, like, a majority of people did come from G5. A lot of these head coaches, if they weren't coordinators, and so I don't understand the not wanting to go after it. I really like John Summerall. I think that the thing with Billy Napier, we hired him as a CEO, and he never was a CEO. He was an offensive coordinator / CEO. John Summerall is going to take that head coaching throne and hire his position coaches and offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator to go do their thing. He's going to oversee the defense, obviously, but he's going to allow them to perform. And like I said, 2022 in Troy's first season, they go 12-2. 2023, 11-2. Tulane first year goes 9-5, and now Tulane this year 7-2. Like I said, a huge win over Memphis. So big fan of John Summerall. I think that he knows how to switch a program around. He knows how to build a tradition. He's been in the South, so he understands, recruiting in Louisiana, which is a big state, by the way, in recruiting. And so he might be able to snag a few guys away from LSU there. So that's why John Summerall is my number 5. Not my go-to, but I wouldn't be mad with this hire either.
Yeah, it's crazy because Summerall 39-11 as a head coach. It's kind of crazy to think. But he's just a coach that he knows offense, right? Now, is he my preferred G5 coach? He's my number 2 behind Golish. But I would say he's like, I'd say he's tied for my 6th. Okay, how's that sound? And it's funny because all these names that we just listed are also the same names that all these other teams are listing. Like LSU has the same list. Penn State has slightly different lists. So yeah. So all right. So we're going to number 6 now. Am I going to my number 6
to the final pick here in the honorable mention? These
all right,
are
so
no. I was gonna say these are just kind of like I won't say last resort ones, but these are not our favorite. You know what I mean? These are just, at least for me, mine is a very like shot in the dark. So, but yeah, go ahead.
So I mean, this list for me is a mixture of I'm gonna do a 3-way tie. Okay, but for number 6, because it's like, who the hell cares? And it's in order of who I would want. Okay, so number 6, Heupel at Tennessee. Why the hell not? People are saying, well, we don't want Heupel. He's overweight. Who the hell cares? Listen, you come in, you win games. I don't even care. No one's talking about Heupel. And the reason why no one's talking about Heupel is because Tennessee's actually a really good job. And when you're, like I said, when you're a top job, you're not really a candidate if you're winning. But why not? I mean, he's a great. Tennessee has a very big recruiting budget because they've got to recruit nationally. They recruit all over the country to bring in talent. You bring Heupel down to Florida, like we said, you throw a rock, you hit a 5-star. So guess what? He wouldn't have to do that. And now all of a sudden, we're running wide receivers on the sideline to sideline. We're killing people. We're annihilating people. I say Golish is probably just like Heupel, but a lot more affordable. So that's why, and he's in Tampa. He's like, how long does it take to get to Tampa? Like no time. I close my eyes and I'm there. So that's why I say Golish. But if you can't get him, Heupel. Number 6, that's 6A. 6B, Summerall. You already said everything about Summerall. LSU wants to get Summerall. I think he'll end up going to LSU if LSU really wants him. The crazy thing about Summerall is, does he really? LSU has really. It's a really convoluted situation over there with got to fire the AD, fire the football, the governor's involved. It's the craziest thing ever. We fire you if you don't win every game. So who the hell wants to go there? Then, well, who signed this buyout? The taxpayers have to pay the buyout. Yeah, there's a buyout because you have to. If you don't win every game, you get fired. So yeah, you're gonna pay me. 6C. We already talked about this guy. Very expensive. But why the hell not? Lil Lincoln. Abe Lincoln Riley. Why the hell not? Listen, they say it's $80 million to buy him out, $90 million. He's in LA. They say he doesn't like LA. They say, he wants out. So at the end of the day, maybe there's an opportunity to say, hey, reduce the buyout. Let him walk away. Maybe it's only 10 million. Florida, you want him? 10 million. You don't have to pay the 90. We don't want him either. He doesn't want to be here. We don't. If you don't want to be here, why the hell are we going to force you to stay here? 10 million. Then we get Lil Lincoln. You might as well. Now, here's the thing. Lil Lincoln, the guy always has Heisman winners. People say, well, Heisman won the national championship with all these Heisman quarterbacks. Yeah, because his defense was Pop Warner. Now, you
Alex
come to
Grinch.
Florida. Yeah. But here's the thing. He showed me a little something. They're playing a little better defense. Now, you don't have a Heisman at quarterback now, but you got a little bit better defense keeping you in these games. So, you come in, you get a top-level quarterback. Lil Lincoln develops a quarterback. We're definitely not throwing 12 interceptions. We have more interceptions than games. Well, a lot of people do that, but usually if you're a quarterback and you have more interceptions than games played, that's not really a great stat. So the reality is Lincoln could come here, he gets the buyout reduced. Now we have an elite offense. People are scared. We can score now. And hey, I would take that. People say, well, I don't want Lincoln Riley. He left Ole Miss or Oklahoma in shambles. Who the hell cares? We're desperate. People, we need to score a point. Did you see the Kentucky game? Raise your hand if you love that offensive performance at Kentucky. It was so beautiful. I guarantee you put Lil Lincoln out there, we're scoring more than 7 points. Okay? Guarantee you. So if we get any one of these coaches that you and I just put on the board, we're materially better than we were this year. But next year will be better. Like, hell, we're already only going to win 3 games. So you get either one of these guys, you'll win 5 or 6 next year, maybe more. And then the next year, guess what? Playoffs. So that's my top 6.
I like it. Yeah, no, I think Gator Crusader just said that that Riley said he's pretty much going to be staying. Yeah, I mean that's why he's down at the bottom. I agree. Like if Lincoln Riley said he wanted to come to Florida, he jumps up to number 2. Honestly, it's ridiculous. I mean, you could even say EJ that he did more at Oklahoma than Lane Kiffin's done at Ole Miss. Like he's actually proven more at the SEC level. Truly, if you really want to get down to it, I mean, 2 SEC quarterbacks. What was it that? Yeah, because he was coaching Baker Mayfield in Oklahoma when they went to the semifinal. And lost in the Rose Bowl. And so, like, there's he's really done more there. So he might even jump up to number 1. I don't know, but I don't think that he, I'm still not so sure that he leaves USC, but that would definitely be nice. Now, my number 6 is...
You don't have a 3-way tie, do you?
No 3-way tie. This is going to be a wild one. I have Eric Morris. Eric Morris is the North Texas head football coach. The reason I say that is this guy, he was at Incarnate Ward with Cam Ward, went to Washington State with Cam Ward, created Cam Ward, made him the quarterback that he is. Then went off to North Texas and has been absolutely killing it. Has created North Texas, has made them an offensive powerhouse. You know what their average per game is right now, points per game? 44.4 points per game, which is ridiculous.
North Texas.
53 total touchdowns. I mean, 2,700 passing yards already this season. Their quarterback, Drew Messmaker, is 2,700 yards passing, 21 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, is absolutely killing it with a 70% completion percentage. They're a big-time rushing team as well. Caleb Hawkins, the running back, has been killing it. This guy, did we lose? Oh, EJ's camera went out. But like, and listen, it's a shot in the dark. I know. We're just at the point where, like, hey, just throw in an honorable mention, just like a screw it kind of, choice. And that's my just shot in the dark type, throw out there with Eric Morris. This guy has been an offensive coordinator a lot of places. He understands offense, and that's what we want to see. So just to kind of got to throw out there. Don't really want to spend too much time on him because, once again, he's really not in my sight. I just wanted to throw a name out there. You said Saban, Rob? Yeah, well, Saban's not leaving. Saban's not coming back into coaching. And if he was, he'd be going to LSU because obviously he won the Natty there. He has history there. He would be going to LSU. But that's even if he wants to come out of being an analyst and come back into coaching. But I think Miss Terry wants to keep giving him his oatmeal pies and let him sit on his chair and watch college football all week long. So I don't know what happened to EJ. We lost EJ there. But that's going to be our coaching list. Like I said, let us know your coaching list. If you're watching this video after the fact, comment down below your top 5, your top 6, whatever you want to do with the coaches you think the Gators should hire. Reezy, what's going on? You said, I think we beat Ole Miss. Listen, we did our entire preview a little bit earlier, me and EJ. As you could tell, EJ's usually there, and bro just disappeared on us, like a little magic trick. But yeah, I think both have Florida losing to Ole Miss, but I do think we put up a big time fight. I think it's a lot closer than what people think. I think the Gators played. Our defense is there. He is. He's back. Is schemed up to do well against Ole Miss in this offense. At least compared to other defensive schemes. Like, I think our matchup with Kentucky was not great from the get-go. Me and EJ talked about it, like I said a little bit earlier, and look what happened with that. We lose 38-7. I think our matchup is actually much better in this Ole Miss game. So, Reezy, once we stop this live, or if you want, you can go back to that section. We start out talking about the Kentucky game. About midway through, we start talking about the Ole Miss game and doing our little analysis and preview for that. So you can go check that out. We did a little segment on there. So, all right, EJ, anything else you want to mention about the coaching stuff before we dive into the Week 12 slate?
The coaching carousel is going to be freaking mayhem this year, everybody. A lot of the coaching candidates are going to probably be in the playoffs. And the other thing that makes James Franklin more appealing is, number one, you could technically hire him tomorrow. You could literally hire the guy tomorrow. And the reality is you get a huge head start on 10 different teams who are looking for a coach who can't go to recruits and say, this is going to be your coach next year. And so you can jump the gun and, be a few steps ahead if you get him. Now, obviously, we're waiting for Lane Kiffin to make a decision. And the bottom line is, I feel really good that regardless of whether we get Lane Kiffin or not, we'll still be in better shape than what we were with Billy Napier. Just some of these names I just really think will come in and do a much better job. So that's all I got to say about that. I am interested in seeing how this week goes with playing the Ole Miss in the Lane Kiffin Bowl. But like I said, if people will say, "Oh, Ole Miss is going to win big," usually the opposite happens. It's usually a close game coming down to the wire, and let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens, baby. All right, let's dive into this Week 12 slate. We're gonna, I think, have 9 or 10 games here. Let's go ahead and dive into them, EJ. Starting out with Virginia at Duke. Duke favored by 5.5.
Virginia favored by 5.5.
Or no, sorry. Duke is. I think it's Duke favored by 5. Sorry. Before we do that, the Week 11 results. Let's talk about that. I'm sorry. I kind of jumped ahead there. I think I have it. Hold up. I have it in our email that I sent for this structure. Let's talk about that. We're trying to pull off a comeback here, baby. We're trying to make it happen. But Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Last week I went 4-5. EJ went 3-6. And all time that makes me 68-43 and EJ 70-41. So I'm starting to come back a little bit here, man. EJ was destroying me, especially like the first 4 weeks. I was just getting demolished, and now we have a little bit of a comeback going, man. So let's see what can happen here, EJ. Let's see what can happen.
Yeah, it's just because these games don't make any sense anymore.
Exactly. 1, 2. Hold up. I feel like I have more games on here than I have written down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, let's go ahead and start with, like I said, Virginia at Duke. Duke favored by 5.5. EJ, what are you picking?
Okay. It's going to be hard for me to go against Duke at home, even though this is definitely a 50-50 game. So I'm going to go Duke at home, medium confidence.
I'm with you. Chandler Morris for Virginia, the reason that they lost that game was because he went out with an injury. And so I think that it's a concussion, so will he be back? That's kind of the question that I have. Probably not. Sometimes guys come back a little bit quick. Yeah. I don't think so. I'm going to pick Duke here. If Chandler Morris was healthy, I'm picking Virginia, but I just don't think he's going to be back for this game, so I'm picking Duke. Next game we have Mississippi State at Missouri. Missouri favored by 5.5. I'm going to go Missouri here. I do like Mississippi State. I think they're gonna put up a big time fight in that Ole Miss game. But they're coming off of a really bad loss against Georgia. Georgia went into the Cowbells and absolutely destroyed them. It was brutal, EJ. So I'm gonna pick Mizzou to have a little bounce back win here for him.
Yeah, one name we didn't mention was Eli Drunkowitz. I don't really care too much for the guy. So, interesting stat, Missouri, look at this. They're 470 yards offense. They're with 245 yards given up on defense. That's crazy. So I'm going to go Missouri. It's at home. Missouri's going to win this game probably relatively easily. Tigers.
I like it. I'm with you there. Next one we have Clemson at Louisville. Louisville favored by 3.5. Clemson coming off of a nice win against Florida State. Louisville now trying to bounce back after a pretty bad loss against Cal. How do you feel about this one, EJ?
I'm going Louisville. Jeff Brom, you got to do something. You got beat versus Cal. What the hell was that? Clemson, you got lucky. Florida State, they've mailed it in. Louisville, 35-24.
I agree. I like that pick. I'm going Louisville as well. Going to be a nice bounce back win for them. Clemson, they're just not going to win on the road. Next one we have Arkansas at LSU. This is a big rivalry game. LSU favored by 5.5.
Yeah, this is a big rivalry. It's so funny. Arkansas averages 484 yards a game. LSU 355. Let that sink in. And Arkansas is 0-5. So you're averaging 130 more yards of offense. And by the way, you're averaging 35 points a game, and LSU's averaging 25 points a game. But Arkansas is the 0-5 team. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. I'm just gonna go with that trend and say LSU. I was really close to picking Arkansas. Hell, should I just pick Arkansas?
Honestly, I have LSU underlined for me, but especially when you're talking about it, you're right, man. Can LSU's offense, because they bench Garrett Nussmeier, can they keep up with this Arkansas offense? That's the question, because the Arkansas defense is just absolute trash, and offenses are able to take advantage of it. But Caden Durham for LSU might be able to run all over him too. You know what I mean? It's not just the quarterback.
Yeah. So, damn. Okay, I'm going to go LSU with a very, very hesitation because I think Arkansas can actually win this game.
I agree. Would not surprise me. I'm going LSU, though, as well. Stick with my original pick. Iowa at USC. USC favored by 6.5. Now, here's what's kind of crazy. Iowa loses by a last-second field goal against Oregon. Unbelievable game. It was a pretty boring game. A lot of running the ball. I'm going to expect that a lot in this game too. Iowa, big running team. Their quarterback cannot really throw the ball too well. Bro only had like one completion in like the whole first. Bro could not throw the ball in the first half against Oregon really at all, but it was pretty bad. Finally had a nice little play that I think it was like one completion that, was a pretty big gain. Other than that, nothing going on there. USC's run defense, though, a little iffy this year. Okay, Nebraska had their way. Dylan Raiola only threw the ball like 8 times in that game, and they were just running the ball all over the USC defense. I'm going with the upset. I'm going with Iowa in this game. Run the ball.
Oh, all right. So Iowa completely, absolutely screwed me because I picked them to upset Oregon in our other picks challenge, and I knew everyone else was going to pick Oregon. And I was like, Iowa, they can get it done. And it was like my 1-point game. Oregon was like everybody's 10-point game. I'm like, okay, I could make a comeback if freaking Iowa wins this game. And here's the craziest thing. On College Game Day, Kirk Herbstreit, he said he was the only one that picked Iowa. And he said, I was going to beat Oregon 16-15. The game was 16-15, and then the Oregon quarterback completes that 25-yard pass down the field to put them in field goal range. That pass was unbelievable. DJ Lagway would never. And Oregon kicks the field goal and wins it 18-16.
Golly. Yeah,
I was so hurt. I was like, this is my life. I pick Iowa, they lose. I pick them to win. So I'm going to pick USC in this game because I'm confident at all that they're going to win, because I think Iowa, they just make the game ugly. They make you doubt yourself, and then you have to dig deep to figure out if you're going to win. Would not surprise me if Iowa won this game like 18-17, something ugly. But I'm going to go USC just because I'm just so pissed at Iowa for not delivering.
I respect it. Finally, a pick that we go opposite on. South Carolina at Texas A&M. Texas A&M favored by these next 3 picks, by the way, are all going to be spreads. Texas A&M favored by 17.5, EJ. Go ahead.
Are they playing at home?
They're playing at Texas A&M.
Texas A&M covers. They're just too big, too strong. The D-line is going to sack whoever they got. I don't even know who South Carolina's putting back their quarterback anymore. Is it still Sellers?
I believe so.
Yeah, he's going to get sacked and attacked all game. And then South Carolina's defense is going to get ran over like they're not even there. So I'm going A&M Aggies big 41. I'll say 41-20. I'll give them. I'll say South Carolina, the ball bounces off somebody's helmet, Beamer ball, and South Carolina scores some points. But Aggies roll.
If this was at Williams-Brice, man, look, dude, they get wins with Beamer, bro, out of nowhere, right? If this was at South Carolina, I'm picking South Carolina, maybe in the maybe not the full upset, but I think I'm definitely taking them on points. I went back and forth with this one, and South Carolina did have a bye week. That's another thing. Texas A&M did not. Makes me want to pick South Carolina, but Texas A&M hasn't disappointed me yet, and so I'm going Texas A&M as well. But I could totally see South Carolina covering that 100%. Next one, we have Notre Dame favored by 10.5 at Pitt. Big game here. Pitt has really 2 good losses. I mean, one's to West Virginia, but Rich Rodriguez, is back there and has had some really weird wins this season with West Virginia, even though I think they're only 4-6. And then their other one was, what was their other? They had another big loss. Oh, man, I can't remember who they lost to. It was a really good. Oh, I think it was Louisville. I think they lost to Louisville. So Pitt's not a bad team at all. Notre Dame kind of screwed me last week because I picked Navy to cover that 24.5 spread. Notre Dame won by like 32. I'm picking Pitt, though, to cover the spread, man. Notre Dame, if you look at their stats, they're getting better and better every single week. Their offensive efficiency, their defensive efficiency per play is some of the best in the country. But, I don't know. It's just a weird game. Toward the end of the year, it's going to be a challenge for Notre Dame. I'm picking Pitt to cover the spread.
Wait, what's the spread?
10.5.
Is it in Pitt?
It's at Pitt. It's a tough one.
Give me Notre Dame. Pitt, listen. Pittsburgh's a good town, The Steelers, you got the river. You got UPMC. But other than that, Notre Dame going to come up there and ramshack you. Give me the Irish 38-14 beat down. Pittsburgh, you're going to need a new coach after this game.
I respect it. I respect it. Next up, we have Boise State favored by 1.5 at San Diego State.
Oh, San
Diego, yes, sir. You can go to this game if you want, EJ. This Saturday. This is the game that I'm betting on for the week, officially, because I'm picking San Diego State. Boise State favored by 1.5. Madsen at quarterback is going to be out. The starting quarterback for Boise. They're going to try to stick to that run game. It's going to be good. But San Diego State's a good little team. I think they're 7-1. They're a nice little unit. I'm picking San Diego State to get the win and get the upset.
Yes. Why don't you come down to San Diego and then we can go to SeaWorld, your favorite place.
Yep, that. Do go to the game too, bro. Hell yeah.
Yes. Beautiful Snapdragon Stadium in San Diego.
That's what it's called?
Yes, that's what it's called. Snapdragon. Okay? That's where we play. Now, it's probably better than Raymond James because they let you keep your water bottle tops. And you can bring in bags. Raymond James say if anyone goes there, get water bottle tops, put them in your pocket, and take them into the stadium because they take your water bottle tops. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Anyway, give me the Aztecs in this game to beat Boise. Boise didn't really impress me since the beginning of the season when USF blanked them. San Diego State wins. San Diego State covers. Aztecs making it look ugly. Even though I think Boise State, they're a little bit more physical than San Diego State, but I think San Diego State can score.
I agree. I think that backup quarterback's not going to be great for Boise State, so I'm picking San Diego. But it's going to be my bet of the week. I'm going to put some money on it. It's going to be interesting. Oklahoma at Bama, game of the week. Bama favored by 6.5. Oklahoma coming off of a bye. EJ, how you picking this one?
So Oklahoma technically still has the sixth best defense in the nation somehow.
Brett Venables.
Venables.
I think also too they have the highest efficiency play by play defensively. So yeah, just something to look at there, right alongside Ohio State and Matt Patricia. So
okay, well, here's the deal. Alabama is pissed that they lost to Oklahoma last year. Their fans are pissed that they got beat by Oklahoma and couldn't go to the playoffs. Okay? Then you get stuck in Orlando in a monsoon and get beat by Michigan, just like Ohio State. Alabama, I think, is going to play really well in this game. I'm going to go Alabama. But it's not gonna be a blowout, but it'll be kind of close. 24-17. Tide cover. Ty Simpson, Heisman campaign.
There you go. I like it. I'm with you there. I'm going Bama. Yeah, I think Oklahoma, solid unit. I just don't. It's just like a quarterback battle. I'm taking Ty Simpson over Mateer. Mateer's really good. Mateer's too inconsistent. He just misses wide open throws sometimes. Looks really just bad when he gets in his head. So I'm picking Alabama for that reason. I forgot there is one more game. This is the other spread pick that we're going to do. I knew I didn't have one written down. Texas at Georgia. Texas going to the hedges. Georgia favored by 6.5. It's going to be an interesting game here, EJ. Here's the thing about Georgia. Georgia always plays these close-ass games, but they do have confidence coming off of a really nice win against Mississippi State. Texas also plays these really close games. I mean, Georgia played Mississippi State a lot better than what Texas did. I know that's not how, you need to, you don't do that. You don't, do the 2 second degree type comparison. I'm going to pick Georgia, though, to cover. I don't love that pick, but Georgia always they're gonna win. Georgia always figures out how to win these close games, but I think they are gonna cover. I think Texas is gonna put up a fight. I think Georgia wins by a touchdown.
Georgia's defense isn't as domination factor as you would think it would be with Kirby Smart and Schumann back there. Uh, that worries me a little bit about this game.
Arch Manning is playing better.
Manning is, he found himself a little bit, Vandy game. But here's the deal. And then Texas defense I think it's a little bit better than Georgia's defense. But there's something about that Gunnar Stockton between the hedges, and the Georgia offense seems to be rolling along. So give me Georgia by 10, and they're going to cover. Sorry, Texas, but your coach is eyeing the NFL. And then now you're going to have Texas job open. How the hell there's not enough money to pay all these people. Georgia, 30. Texas, 20. Final.
I like it. So those are our picks. You guys let us know your picks down in the comment section down below, man. We have one more segment we're going to get to. EJ, basketball team. You can just chat about that. And then we will call it.
Yo. All right, guys. So basketball. We're going to probably do like a quick little segment where I'm going to, give a little overview of the last 2 games. Maybe tomorrow we'll do it. And then a preview of the Florida State game, which is on Tuesday night, Veterans Day. Everyone tune in. We're playing the Seminoles. It's a big game. In Gainesville. But the team, so here's the deal. Is the team national championship caliber right now? I would say we're a little bit off. The Arizona game showed us a lot. Arizona is definitely a top 10, top 5 caliber team. They provided a lot of matchup issues for us because their size. We couldn't out physical them. We also could not out rebound them. That's typically how we win games. Todd Golden is a numbers guy. He says, hey, if we end up with more possessions than the other team, quality possessions, more high percentage shots, we can win. Arizona, they took high percentage shots. They out rebounded us. They took away our advantages. And then when you score, we can't really set up our defense. And when you also score, we can't get a defensive rebound and try to score in transition. And so that's usually the margin. And so it was a close game. It was a great game. I was there. Boogie Fland. I think Boogie Fland's is he Walter Clayton Jr.? No. Okay. But remember, the 3 guards we had last year were all 5th-year seniors. They were veterans. They had winners mentality. They were dogs. They knew what it took to win a game.
That are dominating the NBA too. They are all playing phenomenal.
They're all, and then they're all in the perfect teams. Well, except for Clayton. Clayton should have been on another, but Will Richard. That's why Will Richards scoring so many, because he's on the perfect team, perfect style. And yes, Elijah Martin is a Raptor. Like, that guy is freaking jacked. But then when you look at Xavier Lee and Boogie Fland, they're smaller and they're both like, I think they're sophomore. I think Boogie Fland's he's like, so they don't have their confidence. I think as the season goes along, they get more comfortable with what Todd Golden wants them to do, and they get committed to what they need to do. They'll both be really, really good. And they'll be very effective in the attack. Couple stats real quick. So in the last 25 years, real quick, the North Florida game. So we beat North Florida by 40, but the issue in that game, we were only 6 of 32 from 3. Not a great stat. You got to hit more threes than that. The funny thing is, if we had hit a normal 3-point percentage, like 30%, we score like 120 points in a game. So it's like, so you win by 40, you can't make a three. That's just insane. But anyway, national championship statistics to keep your eye on. In the last 25 years, there's only been 2 teams that have shot the ball field goal percentage worse than 47% on the year. We're at 46.4 as a team. True raw field goal percentage. So we're right there at the cusp of being able to have a championship level field goal percentage offense. And it's really only 46 because we're so bad at 3-point percentage. Only 2 teams have shot worse than 33%. We're at 22% threes. Last year's team shot exactly 47% field goals and 34% from 3. If this team can shoot 34% from 3, we're going to be obliterating people. Like, you shot 34% against Arizona, you're winning by 10 points. You do that against North Florida, you beat them by 60. So that's what we got to work on. The issue is shooting off of the catch. We're shooting a lot of off the dribble threes. We're not Steph Curry, Walter Clayton. Walter Clayton could shoot a three, just give him space, he'll launch it and make it. We have to be this team has to be in rhythm. We're not that type of shooter. Shoot it off the catch, we can make it. Florida State is a high volume 3-point shooting team. They shot 47 threes in one of their games this season and the 30 in the other game. And guess what? They made like 23 of the 47. The thing about Todd Golden, he does not like to give up threes. We center our defense around defending the 3. That's another thing with Arizona. Arizona doesn't shoot threes. So our defense didn't really work against them. So I have really good confidence that we can lock down Florida State, limit their threes, out-rebound them, get in transition. We're going to score against anybody. And I think we'd be able to win the game that way. It'll be interesting to see, though. If Florida State comes out and they're making all these threes and we have to somehow make a comeback, it'll be interesting. But I think we win that game. And improvement as the season goes along is what we're going to be looking for from this basketball team. Thomas Houck is clearly the best player on the team right now. We got to figure out how to use him a little bit better, get him the ball. And Boogie Fland's just going to need to just be a dog. Like, he's passing the ball around, not being very confident. Look, get the ball, take it to the hole, get the foul, and 1. Okay? That's what you need to be doing. And I really like Xavier Lee. He's a pretty good little player. Now, they body him and get to the basket when you're playing these good teams. But, at least you didn't get your ankles broke like the one guy, like Giddey, in the NBA. I think they put him in the trauma center.
Dude, he got destroyed. It was one of the worst crossovers I've ever seen. Dude, he broke his ankles.
They put him in the trauma center. Listen, if you're playing basketball, guys, you should never get crossed over. Keep your feet parallel. Never put one foot behind the other when you're trying to defend. Keep your feet parallel. If a guy blows around you, at least you got to the side and you got help. But never cross your feet when you're playing defense against somebody that's dribbling the ball around you. He can only go one direction. So at least we don't get crossed up like that, because now you got to bring the crucifix out after you get crossed over like that. So we're not going to do that. I have real good confidence in this game against Florida State. We actually have a pretty hefty non-conference schedule this year, playing Florida State. Then we're playing Miami. So let's see if we can win the state of Florida national championship. And then we still got Duke and UConn. And TCU and potentially Providence and Wisconsin. So we got a pretty tough little non-conference schedule. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I'm looking at the strength of schedule overall is rough, dude. I think we're number 9 in the country on strength of schedule. While of course some of the other big schools are have a 20th, 30th ranked, but it's fine. So like you said, we're gonna have to lock in 2 tough games back to back, non-conference. So conference play starts in January, I think, right? Start off the year. So hopefully we can get some consistency. I agree. I mean, when we're not shooting threes, we're very dangerous. It's just, bro, it's tough. Like I was texting you during the games. Like it's just even who do we play on Thursday? Some like small school, whoever.
North Florida.
North Florida. Okay. So we played North Florida. Even against North Florida, dude, our threes shooting was trash, and it's just like it's very frustrating. And it's the rhythm, right? Like I don't know basketball like you know basketball, but here's what I will say: when I was watching last year's team, the rhythm was unreal. I mean, you would just the ball movement was beautiful, and then they would throw it out to Clayton or throw it out to whoever was out there, and they would just drain a three. They wouldn't have to dribble and shoot the three. It's funny you brought that up because that goes into that rhythm that you're talking about. And that's something that I'm not experiencing with this team. I totally agree. Is they're not getting their feet set. They're not. There's no rhythm. There's no fluidity that goes into the offense. So I'm with you 100%, EJ. We'll see what happens, man. Really excited. We'll go week by week, of course, keep you guys updated. EJ especially will give you guys the constant updates on the off season, and it'll be a great time. So keep your eyes peeled and be ready for all that. EJ, anything else you want to say to everyone out here after this little mega episode we did?
We appreciate you guys. Like and subscribe. Hopefully we'll have some good news next week to talk about. Hopefully we don't get destroyed against Ole Miss, but keep your heads up. We're at a low point right now in the football program. But, there are brighter days ahead. I think no matter who we get as our coach, we should be thinking we can do something a lot better than what we've been doing the last 4 years.
Very true. Very true. Appreciate you guys, man. We'll definitely talk to you next week. Go Gators.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown.
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.
I'm ready to go play. Let's play our best football.
Play fake on first down. Lagway launching downfield, has a man. Touchdown.
Blitz coming off the edge. Dart under pressure. Down he goes.